Hi there, folks. Welcome back to the ballpark. My name is Darren Sutton with 13 years of Major League experience and a sports dad, Dave Valley, and I think that's very important. Mike Rooney will provide 19 years of coaching and all that he has brought, 19 players too, he has sent to Major League Baseball. He provides the scouting and the coaching input. We start with you because as a sports dad and also now spending some time with these players this week, what does it mean to them?
You know, just talking with some of these young guys, it's amazing to me the poise and the composure that I see out of guys that are 16, 17, and 18 years old. But this experience was going to help them mature beyond their years, whether they go to play on a major university or get an opportunity to play in the professional level and then on to the big leagues. It's experiences like this that make them more comfortable in these type of settings.
All right, we're going to use you right away. Let's break this roster down, and it's 50 players, but we're going to start with the top 5. On that top 5, we see a pair of outfielders and 3 pitchers.
Well, you're right, Darren. It's huge tools. You've got big arms, left-handed, right-handed. You've got big power. You look at Blake Rutherford right there, who also brings elite speed. Very loud tools in this game.
So Rutherford with the power. Who does Avery Tuck remind you of?
Garrett Anderson. He has a quiet confidence about him when he walks up to the plate.
Ian Anderson is a big arm and does his work in the cold weather.
Which you love. They call him a low-mileage arm. Guys that haven't thrown a ton of innings, but it's great projection and high velocity already.
A little warmer, Austin Bergner in the World Wood Bat Association Championship last year touched 95 miles an hour. He has everyone's attention, certainly. And I'll go back to you on Jason Groom, the #1 player in this class.
Well, the number 1 overall picks played in this game for the last 6 years, and that, if the draft was tomorrow, Jason Groom is your guy.
So Groom will start in this game, and a young man who is a part of this list. A couple of cold weather pitchers on there.
Which is great to see. You know, us guys that come from the north don't typically get this type of exposure, but I think it's games like this, the perfect game that shows these young men what they're capable of across the nation.
Well, Groom, certainly an opportunity to show himself, pitch in this game. He's a Vanderbilt commit. Scouts like this guy say he probably won't make it there with his talent. We introduce you to Jason Groom.
Hi, I'm Jason Groom. I'm a left-handed pitcher, and I go to Barnegat High School in New Jersey. I see all these articles about me and stuff, like it's great, but I just feel like I don't have to prove myself to no one now because everyone knows how good I am, and I just go out there and do my thing, and it speaks for itself. On my fastball is my best pitch. I throw it 2 different ways. I have a 2-seam and a running fastball. But yeah, they're lethal. Every time I step foot on the field, I mean, I do it for my whole family. I mean, they believe in me 100%. They never doubted me from day one. They always told me I had something special, and I just kept working, and it's finally paying off, and I'm never going to give up until I become a Hall of Famer. That's what I want to be, and I ain't going to stop till I get there.
So how does a player from cold weather move above all these warm weather guys?
Well, he's got elite everything. He's only 16 years old, one of the youngest guys in the class. 6'6", lefty. It's easy, and has already touched 96 miles an hour.
All right, let's get down to the field. Introduce you again to the left-hander. He's standing by with the 4th member of our broadcast team, Brett Dolan.
Thanks, Darren. We are with the #1 player in the class. In fact, one of the starting pitchers today, Jason Groom, who also last night won the Jackie Robinson Award given to the top high school player in the class. And first of all, Jason, I know you've won a lot of awards and accolades. What did that mean to you last night?
I mean, I can honestly say that was the biggest accomplishment of my life. I mean, I know I was in the running for it, but when my name got called, I mean, I was ecstatic. I mean, my mom seen the video and she shed tears. She said, I mean, they were just so proud of me, and I'm so happy I got to win it.
You are one of the youngest members in the class. You're 16 years old. You won't even turn 17 till next week. But describe how your velocity has increased over these last couple of years as you've gotten older.
I mean, a little of it came from my height. I mean, I grew a little bit, but most of all, I started working out in the weight room a lot more. I mean, a lot harder than I used to. But, I mean, all in all, it paid off all the work that I did. So I'm excited to see what the future holds.
Well, you've consistently gone up 2 or 3 miles an hour over the last couple of years. You mentioned you're still growing. You grew 2 inches last year.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited to see what, like I said, my future holds. But I mean, I'd love to hit triple digits. I mean, that would be a next step in the road. But I mean, I'm happy with what I got right now. So.
Guys, it's not only velocity, but it's command. Anxious to see Jason Groom start the game tonight. Back up to you.
All right, thank you very much, Brett. So we know all of these players have rivals. They're talented. Can sibling rivalry make a difference? You have 2 daughters and a son. Brothers and sisters, can they push one another?
Absolutely. The competition lives inside the house, whether it's an award that one sister got and the son didn't. I also grew up with 7 brothers and sisters. We competed every day, even for that last slice of pizza.
That's what's going on in the great state of Texas in the King household. At 6'5", 215 pounds, he's the king of the court and master of the mound. Throwing 92 miles an hour as a high school junior is changing Charles King's life before his family's eyes.
To me, he's just my son. And so to go out there and see him be recognized for his potential talent and future, it's mind-boggling, actually. It's really hard to put into perspective.
Growing up in a house with 2 future Division I athletes is anything but boring, especially when it's your sister's shoes you're trying to fill.
I think we're 2 different kinds of athletes. I got more of the finesse, the kind of the skill, and she got kind of more like the agility, quickness. Back when, when we were both in middle school and we were both kind of the same size and the same skill level, it was really just a fight. Since I was a grade lower than my sister, I'd always kind of lived in her shadow. And all the coaches were like, yeah, your sister's a great athlete. I need that out of you.
In those moments of adolescent rivalry, we often find our strength and purpose. For 11-year-old Chuck, the clarity came when he broke his jaw in a game.
Baseball was the last thing on my mind at that time. I was just worried, was he going to pull through? It was probably the scariest moment of my life, without a doubt.
So next thing we need to think about is...
5 years later, he and his mom are trying to manage his busy summer calendar.
We'll be headed to the All-American. Yeah, so...
Those lazy days playing washers with Dad in the backyard are moments to cherish now.
I think we're probably mythical national champs. We haven't lost in 4 years. We take on all comers. We're like 162-0. That's just, hey, that's not bragging, that's just facts right there.
Get your guy on the edge and he puts it in and knocks it out.
It always makes me smile when somebody comes up and the first thing they say is your son's a nice, giving individual instead of, hey, he's a good baseball player. Because athletics is going to go away sometime and you're stuck with yourself.
We are moments away from starting this game. Really a great attitude, the attitude of giving back, and these players had the right attitude when they visited Rady Children's Hospital. There was some education for Jaron Shelby, one of our All-Americans, as a very young man when he saw his brother battle Hodgkin's lymphoma. So he had already, in a way, many times visited Rady Children's Hospital. He is now standing by on the diamond with Brett Dolan.
You're right, Darren. In fact, the son of John Shelby, the 11-year Major League veteran, now coach of the Brewers, he could be one of 4 baseball-playing brothers to play in the professional ranks, but it was his brother Jeremy who came down with cancer at the age of 14. Jaron, he defeated cancer. Now, he named you, but how did his life journey inspire you?
Well, he was truly an inspiration to battle cancer and just come out victorious. You can look at him every day and just see how he takes life and, learn something from it. So we look at him, we all love him, and we look at him as, an example, and we try to look to be half the man he is, so he's stronger than all of us.
Now, your brother Javon played at the University of Kentucky, had his sophomore season. You're committed there, but next year both of you guys could be drafted. What would that be like in the Shelby household if both of your names were called?
Well, we've always dreamed about that. If we can both go in the draft, that'd be something spectacular, and it'd be something huge for the family, and we could, this all comes from our pops, so we're just trying to replace his footsteps and be half the person he was.
Boy, Darren, that would be quite a night in the Shelby household here, both of those names announced.
Yeah, looking forward to that, excited. And Trina Shelby, mom, is the heartbeat of that house, by the way. You don't see this very often. Pitchers warming up side by side in that bullpen. You are about to meet the 50 best players in the land. Scouts, look closely. Players on the diamond in their sharp and very unique Nike uniforms preparing for this game at Petco Park. When you look back to the 2014 Perfect Game All-American Classic, you see a lot of fun and talented names if you follow the game very closely. But then you go ahead and look at the draft, and you see names like Alex Bregman, who played his game collegiately and then went on to be the #2 selection overall. These are alumni who were picked this year in the draft, and I think the interesting thing about it is that 14 players from last year's game alone were drafted in the first round.
I mean, so that's half the first round. Basically, was in this game, and that you look at that, Bregman and Fulmer are guys that were All-Americans in college, and then they come out as first-rounders, and Brendan Rodgers, Kyle Tucker, Cornelius Randolph were high school guys that signed, so you get both.
Let's take a look at the East lineup. Reggie Lawson trotting in from that bullpen. Khalil Lee will lead it off, a young man out of Virginia. Joe Rizzo bats in that number 2 spot. He's shown big power. He's also out of Virginia as well. Carlos Cortez, he throws from both sides, doesn't hit from both sides, so we'll see that. Drew Mendoza, the third baseman. Josh Lowe, a multi-position talent. Alex Kirilloff, a home run derby elite champion. Luis Curbelo, one of our quartet from down south in Puerto Rico. Nolan Jones, a hockey star as well. He's finally giving up the sport. Brandon McElwain is just taking up another sport, a college quarterback commit. We'll explain that. Grant Bodison made one of the greatest plays any of us have ever seen, doesn't matter what level. And Mario Feliciano, he bats in the 11th spot. And again, we bat 11. That's who works in that situation. Reggie Lawson, the right-hander out of Victor Valley High School, Adelanto, California. He is committed to pitch at ASU. Those are the basic what is the stuff.
Well, no one's got more helium for next year's draft than Reggie Lawson right now. He's grown, he's lost some weight. It's really an easy arm action, tremendous athleticism in his mechanics, and it's a fastball that we may see get into the mid-90s today.
Lawson 6'4", 187, the number 5 ranked right-handed pitcher in the United States. Very solid in the classroom. Now you're going to see, Dave, these high school pitchers. These aren't minor league pitchers. These aren't major league pitchers. What are some of the things you will look for? All those years catching major league pitchers, what are some of the things you'll look for?
Well, one of the first things that I'm going to look for is that composure out there. These guys, these are young men, 16, 17, 18 years old. I'm going to watch for some of their mechanics, the fluidness of their release of the ball out of their hand. You know, whenever you talk about great pitchers in the big leagues, whether it's the Harveys or the DeGroms in New York, it's how that ball just gets out of their hand. And right now, as we're watching Mr. Lawson right here, he seems like he's got some of that.
We'll dive even deeper into the scouting report on Lawson. You touched on it just a bit.
You know, that fastball, every time out he climbs. It was 90 a month ago, now 92, 93. Again, I think we might see 95 with the adrenaline rush tonight. But what scouts really love is the athleticism. It's an easy arm action. So again, the ceiling on the velocity of this fastball, we don't know what it could get to.
Here's the fun thing about this week. It's an honor for all of these players to come out. Their families, if they're able to do so, accompany these players. And they spend Thursday on here in San Diego, California. But I'll be honest, it's all about the hitters. There's hitters batting practice. The hitters get to work defensively and show off their arms. They have a home run derby. There is no pitching derby. There's no velocity derby. You know what tonight's game is? Tonight's the time for the pitchers to shine, and it's almost like facing a bunch of closers in a row.
This is not a great night to hit, Dave. You know this. This is like everyone throwing 96 with nasty breaking stuff. For these young high school guys, you're going to see the best pitcher you've ever seen in your life all night. Good luck with that.
And the fact is, you've never faced them before, so you just have heard about them. You heard about how good they are, and tonight now they see it face to face.
It starts 93 miles an hour into the dirt. Khalil Lee out of Centerville, Virginia, Flint High School. Plays his travel ball for the Richmond Braves. Back-to-back 93, 92 miles an hour to Lee.
This is good. You face Reggie Lawson and Dave Shadows. That's Khalil Lee's like, don't do me any favors.
The first thing I noticed right there, these poor young hitters right here.
You see good sink on that fastball, so the velocity there, but some pretty good dive.
And you know, Lawson, the velocity keeps coming on. If the breaking ball continues to develop, that's really the one pitch he continues to work on. He's not getting to campus.
Good pitch in on the hands, popped up. Cole Stobie on the third base side. Stobie, the Nebraska native, who has showed great hand speed in the batter's box with a fine play, because, Dave, this isn't his home ballpark.
Yeah, and that's the thing that impresses you so much. In a park that he's never really played any baseball games in, being able to navigate that wall over there. He goes over there full speed, breaks it down, watches the ball into the glove, and makes a play.
You will enjoy seeing Stobie hit a little bit later. I know my scout knowledge guys certainly have, and a fine play there. Joe Rizzo, a personality and a talent and very big power out of Oak Hill, Virginia, Oakton High School. He plays his travel ball for the Evo Shield Canes, one of the great programs in the land. And there's the first look at the curveball into the dirt.
This Joe Rizzo, you know, we're going to say the word projection all night. He's a go-now hitter. I mean, a guy that you could put in a big game, just got a feel for the barrel. For me, Dave, he reminds me of John Kruk a little bit.
That's a pretty nice comparison coming from Philadelphia.
That's right.
Funny how you would pick a John Kruk.
Well, here's what I really like about Joe Rizzo. He's a Jersey kid who now lives in the D.C. area, but he hates the Redskins. So you know he's a sharp kid.
1-1 the count on Rizzo, who said he watched this game last year on television. As that fastball, that's a pretty one over the outside corner. 1-2 the count. You see the scouting report with the bat speed and the power. And again, later on in the telecast, we'll explain how we're monitoring some of this bat speed. It's amazing technology from Zepp. And 89 overthrew that pitch, stayed up and out of the zone.
If Joe Rizzo makes it, he's a South Carolina commit. If he makes it to college baseball, for me, he's an All-American. He's a kid that can really hit, great feel for gap to gap, and there's surprising power in there too.
And he drives that one the other way to left center field. It's down for a base hit. So Rizzo, who put on a display with 14 home runs in the home run derby yesterday with a pretty level swing, testing that defense. Let's take a look at it. By the way, the finest outfielder in the bunch just made the play. He is in left field. Mickey Moniak, Blake Rutherford is in center. Avery Tuck, left and right from San Diego, California. We've seen Stobie already. Texan David Hamilton at short. Luis Quintana out of Las Vegas. Mississippi young man Walker Robbins is the first baseman. And Ben Rortford out of Wisconsin. Huge power. Smaller stature frame, but big power behind home plate. Pretty swing by Rizzo. And he gives way to Carlos Cortez. Boy, frees him up. Breaking ball over the inside corner for strike one to Carlos Cortez. Out of Oviedo, Florida, where his high school baseball team won the state championship this year. Real point of pride for him. Another back-to-back Bender situation, and a good one. He plays his travel ball for Scorpions Prime in Orlando. Another South Carolina commit. If you needed one hit, I don't know that there's a guy other than Carlos Cortez in this game that you would pick. I know Mickey Moniak is an elite. He's really more of a pure hitter. But Cortez, he's really confident, and he's a big game hitter. Slaps that fastball to left. And a very good 0-2 pitch up and out of the zone. So what we see, Dave, with these pitchers, they're going to show their stuff, and they're going to leave nothing on the table. It's not setting up for the third or fourth inning or the second time through.
Well, and just taking a look at how Lawson attacked those last two hitters, starting them off with the breaking balls. He went back-to-back on Cortez before finishing him off with the fastball. So my guess is he's got a little bit of a scouting report, knowing that these young men can turn around a good fastball. I still would like to see him establish that fastball early. Let me see that good fastball. Outer half, just command that pitch. Drew Mendoza in the left side of the batter's box, in the back of that box, and he establishes that fastball over the outside corner. Young man out of Mineola, Florida. Just like that. That's what I like to see. Establish strike one using that good fastball, 92 miles an hour with some movement away from the left-handed hitter. That works at every level. And for me, Dave, how impressive is that? In this stage, how tempting would it be for a kid to just try and dial up 95, 96? He's pitching at 92. That's advanced for me. It just shows some of the composure that these guys have, that they're staying within themselves. They're not kind of going outside trying to do more than they're capable of, which is really a difficult skill to learn. I mean, you'll see that even in the big leagues, guys get outside of themselves and try to do too much. But when you can just be you out there on the mound. Breaking ball went down and got it. Good pitch, pretty swing, and a good effort there by Mendoza. The outing done for Reggie Lawson, the young man who, as we talk about, may be a first-round pick next year. Jason Groom ready to take the bump when we return to Petco Park. Let's take a look at the West, the home team starting lineup, brought to you by Nike Baseball. Proud to be the official footwear, apparel, and vision partner for the Perfect Game All-American Classic. Here are those starters. Moniak, one of the sweetest swinger in the game, has great impact from his grandfather. We'll explain. Nicholas Quintana in that second base spot is a young man out of Las Vegas that has really opened some eyes. Walker Robbins is at first base, and Tyler Fitzgerald, he has major league ties again, 1 through 11. You will meet them all as they have their opportunity to swing the bat. We've talked a lot about Jason Groom out of Barnegat, New Jersey. He will go back home and leave the IMG Academy in Florida and play locally and do his pitching back at home with his family. Still just 16 years old. He's a Vanderbilt commit. But will he make it to Vanderbilt? It checks every single box. He's left-handed. He's 6'6". It's velocity. But here's what's going to really jump out: how easy this arm works. He looks like he's not even going to break a sweat, and it's going to come out 94, 95. And again, it's the Vandy coaches. I think they're just happy for Groom, but he does not look like a college pitcher.
We'll have to educate ourselves, and Dave, you certainly can help us on this. The concept of assigning a player collegially, building your scholarship finances around it, and understanding a lot of those young men might not come to campus. Mickey Moniak, little roller, first pitch swinging, started him up with a fastball at 92 miles an hour. We didn't get to know Mickey well enough. We will talk more about him in a bit. Let's take a look defensively. McElwain, the talented quarterback, outfielder, anchors things in left field. Feliciano behind home plate. Kirilloff, we've talked about that big power. Bodison at some point. We will show you the play that Grant made at the National Showcase in June.
I want to see it.
It's a good one. It's a real good one. Jaron Shelby takes 94 over the outside part of the plate. That's that easy velocity. There's no falling over on the mound there.
Painted down away, and this is what scouts dream of. Moniak's a first-round pick, most likely. Groom's a first-round pick. These guys overwhelm high school competition. These matchups are so important for doing great scouting.
Spins a breaking ball that just didn't quite get there. 1-1 the count.
So just watching this easy motion right here kind of reminds me of Cole Hamels. Just got traded to the Texas Rangers. He's got that nice smooth motion. The ball jumps out of his hand. Good sharp breaking ball.
1-1 the count to Shelby. Breaking ball high. Last one a little bit outside. Shelby out of Lexington, Kentucky. Tates Creek High School. Kentucky Baseball Club is his travel team. Great interview that Brett did with him earlier. Father John, more than 1,000 major league games, a world championship with Baltimore in '83, with the Dodgers in '88. As he's late on that one, lines that hard fastball into the seats. What have you seen in Jaron this week?
You know, just a great baseball family, the incredible bloodlines. But what I like, what we saw in Jaron, his BP on day one was a little choppy, but then in the scrimmage and as each day went on, he got better and better. So you could tell when the lights come on, this kid really knows how to compete in a baseball game.
2-2 check swing and a fabulous changeup as that one is popped right over the bump, and the play is made by Groom. So let's talk scouting. This is where you can educate us a bit. What does all this mean?
Well, you have a present grade for Jason Groom and then a future grade of what the pitch can become. 50 is major league average, so 55, that's an above average major league fastball right now. But the future is, who knows, 70 is multi-year all-star. I think the curveball gets a bad grade because the fastball is so electric it overshadows it, and the changeup's still coming because he doesn't need to throw very many changeups. He's doing high school hitters a favor throwing changeups, Dave.
Yeah, I think pitchers start to learn how to use that breaking ball. Just watching, I've only seen a couple so far. But when you start learning how to throw it out of the strike zone when you're ahead in the count, you see he took a little bit off of that one right there, and it created a much sharper break. But once you get a hitter in a vulnerable situation where they feel like they have to protect, that's when you can start bouncing it, trusting your catcher, and that really becomes a strikeout pitch.
No balls and 2 strikes to count on Blake Rutherford as that fastball is wasted up and away. Blake out of Chaminade College Prep, Evo Shield Canes, his travel team in Simi Valley, California. He is a UCLA commit, and he has flexed his muscle with regard to power. We have seen it all week long. Breaking ball, ground ball on a backhand. Alex Kirilloff flashes a very fine glove as he trots to the bag. And a solid outing, to say the least, for the young man out of New Jersey, Jason Groom. Out of Santa Barbara, California, where it's quite beautiful as well. Santa Barbara High School. Garcia Baseball Group, Marucci, his travel team. And the number 4 player overall in the state of California. So not only a talented pitcher, he's the number 4 right-handed pitcher in the United States, but the number 4 overall player. At the National Showcase, touched 94 miles an hour. And just 1 year ago, he was throwing 89. So he has seen a bounce in velocity as he faces a two-way player in his own right, Joshua Lowe, who we will see pitch later on in the game. Lowe out of Marietta, Georgia. And the first pitch is low and inside, a little cut to it. 1-0 the count to Lowe. Lowe, a Florida State commit, Pope High School, Evo Shield Canes. Has showed so well lately at third base that they're saying he might just have to stay as a position player. A good sink on that one and a strike. 1-1 the count.
For me, Lowe's tools are so elite at all. He's thrown 94 on the mound, ran a 6.5 60. He's got incredible power. It's almost confusing to scout him because you don't know where to start. Is he going to be a pitcher or a hitter? He really started as maybe going to be a pitcher just because the arm strength is so good. But I think the bottom line, Dave, is he's an incredible athlete.
Let me say this, just to hearing, if I had closed my eyes, didn't see this young man up there, but heard about all those skills, too much great athleticism to just leave him on the mound. You can always become a converted pitcher, but just watching this young man, watching him swing, the poise that he has up at the plate, the speed, I want him on the field. I want him on the field every single day playing.
And your thoughts on Gowdy, his stuff?
Well, Gowdy's what you think of when you think of a Southern California pitcher. Now, he's 6'4", and there's velocity there, and it's very projectable, but it's now pitchability. He can throw a secondary stuff for a strike. You see that it's a changeup right there. So he really, you could put him in a Division I college game right now, and he could clearly hold his own.
Fabulous pitch. Had him leaking out front, Dave.
You see that little changeup right there, 80 miles an hour. Fastball was 89 and 90, so he's got a good differential between the fastball and the changeup. This young man, you can just tell just looking at his body, he's very long and lean. He's going to fill out in that fastball. The velocity there is going to continue to climb.
Big swing, long pop. Alex Kirilloff, the home run derby champion earlier today here at Petco Park. Alex beaten that time with that fastball. Kirilloff out of New Kensington, Pennsylvania. A couple of players out of Pennsylvania, Plum High School. And Kirilloff, the #2 first baseman in the United States. Nice play by Mickey Moniak. You love Mickey's glove. Everyone loves his bat. You love his glove.
Well, he's just a great baseball player. Again, it reminds you of Gowdy. These Southern California kids are so experienced on the field. He's got great instincts. As pure a hitter as you're going to see in this class, left-handed hitter, and he can really fly.
Kirilloff quickly out Luis Curbelo, who showed good power yesterday in that home run derby as well. His opportunity, Curbelo, amongst a quartet of those from Puerto Rico, out of Carolina, Puerto Rico, Puerto Rican Baseball Academy. To the right side, base hit, so he showed his muscles yesterday. He showed his, what is it you scouts say, coaches, hit ability that time.
Yeah, just he's hitterish. Hashtag hitterish.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah, get the Twitter game rocking. I love the kids that have come up here from Puerto Rico. Obviously, that's a big trip for them, and it's been so fun to watch them play. Just their passion for the game. Puerto Rico loves baseball, and these kids are showing that.
Very raw, will continue to develop, and has served as the interpreter for his 3 mates, and has been a host in his own right. Breaking ball nips over the outside corner to Nolan Jones. Jones already a tall drink of water. Stands at 6'5". He's out of Langhorne, Pennsylvania. Holy Ghost Prep. Imagine him on skates. Well, he played at an all-state level, won a state championship on skates. Good changeup, gets a swing and a miss. He's finally giving up his pursuit of hockey. One too many concussions. He said it's going to be hard to do, but he loved the sport. Do you love young players playing multiple sports as long as they can?
You know, I really do. I grew up in New York City playing baseball and basketball all the way through my entire high school career. And, you know, nowadays it's more difficult because teams are asking those guys to make a commitment at the age of 10, 11, and 12 to pick one sport. And with guys like that, they're not always haven't grown into their body.
He's picked baseball for health and also because it will probably help him move up that draft board.
Working with Perfect Game, we've created a standardized hitting test that every athlete who comes through can baseline their hitting and their mechanics. We'll measure the bat speed, your hand speed, and your time to impact. And we use all that data to recreate your swing. And players love that.
Perfect Game, very traditional values, but on the cutting edge with regard to technology and player evaluation, with a little bit more on Zepp Labs and that relationship. Brett Dolan with a special guest down below.
Indeed, Jason Fast joins us. Now, maybe you noticed the last couple of batters in the previous inning had something unusual on their bat. Jason, please explain.
Yeah, this is the Zepp baseball sensor. We designed a whole system. It's powered by this little cube here. It's packed with sensors, accelerometers, gyros, and it captures thousands of data points around your swing. And it's being used at all of the Perfect Game showcases, and for the first time ever, we're using it in gameplay here tonight.
And that's the fascinating aspect. We can look at the data that we're getting tonight from real pitchers and real hitters, not just batting practice.
Absolutely. You know, the coolest thing about when you're practicing and trying to improve your game is finding out what you're going to do in a game time situation. And with Zepp, you can do that. You capture all of your data around your practice swings. Now tonight, these guys are going to be able to see from their game time swings. And it's the same technology that Mike Trout's using, that Stanton's using, Hunter Pence, Donaldson, and the list goes on and on. So we're really excited to be here with some of the best players in the game.
And Darren, I'm going to add my 13-year-old is going to be using that next week. I guarantee it once I get it back to Houston. Back to you.
I would imagine that a lot of parents of a lot of talented young players will be doing that. Thank you very much, Brett. Good stuff. Avery Tuck leads this inning off. He is one of the host players in this game, like Mickey Moniak from San Diego, California, as Tuck fouls that one off. Steel Canyon High School. And he is facing Austin Bergner, the #2 pitcher in all of the land out of Florida. He has been on the radar since he was a freshman.
Yeah, Bergner's been a really high-profile guy for a long, long time. And the reason is you see an electric fastball, 93, 94, right out of the chute. And he's a tremendous athlete. It's really, there's no ceiling for him.
Well, let's see that athleticism tested. The throw, the scoop, and not in time. Alex Kirilloff did all he could do. Avery Tuck with that pretty smooth swing that you likened to Garrett Anderson took it right back through the box, and Bergner did all he could.
He's got an effortlessness to that swing. I call it a friction-free swing. He goes back ever so slightly and then generates that good bat speed going forward. This ball hits right off of Bergner. Bergner does show some great athleticism here. This is not an easy play to get off the mound and then throw the ball the opposite way.
And he nearly got him. We see a nice dig over there by Kirilloff. Pretty good glove at first.
Oh, and a great hitter. Alex Kirilloff's had a great week for a kid from Pennsylvania. His dad runs a hitting academy, and I imagine that hitting academy is going to have some new customers. Alex has been really impressive.
A conversation before he faces Cole Stobie, middle infielder out of Omaha, Nebraska. And like many of these players, stands 6'1", looks more like 6'3" when you walk up on him.
For me, so he's the perfect guy for the Zep Labs. For scouting and even coaches recruiting. Stolby's a guy, we watched his BP, Dave, and the bat speed just appeared. He's really athletic in his swing. It appeared immense. And then the Zep guys told us he was at 109 miles an hour, which was the highest of any of these elite hitters in this tournament. So to be able to have a scouting eye, which you want, just that old school scouting eye, and then have some data to confirm some of the things that you thought you saw. So now you know, hey, Stobie really is the real deal.
Yeah, I think sabermetrics have really taught us that those numbers can really corroborate what we visually see. You know, you go to old school to where a guy sees something, but those numbers can actually say, yes, that here's the data to show Stobie 109 miles an hour. That tells you that he's got good bat speed. And I could tell you he had good bat speed because he was hitting the ball about 15 rows back into the seats. Yes, he does have good bat speed. Okay, 109, perfect.
Love it.
At the National Showcase this year in Fort Myers, Florida, the spring training home of the Boston Red Sox, he ran a 6'7", 760. So their size, but their speed. He is playing third a lot this week, but he is a young man that can stick. In the middle of the infield, Cole Stobie, the Arkansas commit, as he takes a breaking ball over the inside corner.
And one of the things with this whole with the Zep product and all the data that it's producing, we've been using on MLB Network the StatCast, which shows all of the immediate dynamics and the speed and the velocity of guys throwing the ball from the outfield. It's really fascinating to me because you'll see a shortstop taking a relay and throwing it 93 miles an hour to home plate. So all of those things start to quantify great arm strength, great speed, great route efficiency. So I think watching what the Zep can do for scouts to be able to have that data to tell you, yes, this guy has some potential. You know, you're going to have some baseline numbers too. What is good bat speed? What is good hand speed, as they mentioned?
Ben Rohrtfeld out of Wisconsin, out of Verona, Wisconsin, about 9 miles outside of town from the University of Wisconsin. Fouls that one off. He is the catcher in today's game. Verona Area High School, the Rawlings Hitters, his travel team. And what a great idea when he goes to play collegiately, if he makes it that far, to study at Arkansas. I mean, he'd love to be a psychology major. A perfect thing to study for a catcher.
No question about it. And today, you know, we're talking about how difficult it is for hitters. How about for these catchers? You're catching a new guy that you've never caught every single inning, but you do need a degree in psychology if you're going to be in the big leagues and you're going to be a great leader of a pitching staff.
Let the record show. So you're the one that said pitchers are mental midgets. I mean, that you clearly were the one that said. Dave, back me up on that. You heard him say that, did you not?
See, there I go. I get misquoted again.
The record cannot show that because I was raised by. There was bread put on the table by a pitcher, so I have to be really, really careful. I'll be just completely wiped out of the whip. 1-2 the count. Bergner showed a good changeup that time. We're talking about Austin living at 93 to 95 miles an hour in that World Wood Bat Association Championship. That's in Jupiter, Florida, right around Halloween every year. And those are straight travel teams. That's not a true showcase, and it's a straight tournament. But boy, is it attended by a bunch of Major League scouts. That's at the spring training home of the Cardinals and the Marlins. So that there are kind of 3 flagship events outside of hundreds and hundreds of youth tournaments that Perfect Game puts together. It's the National Showcase in Fort Myers, Florida. It's this All-American game, and then the WWBA, which is just kind of affectionately called Jupiter.
Yes, yeah, and it's a golf cart-a-thon. You're going to see a lot of golf carts, and you're going to see a lot of big talent. And the game has changed so much. You alluded to it, Dave, where these scouting directors and organizations are about to invest a lot of money in the next generation of players. It's important to get multiple looks at these guys and get them against elite competition.
Swung on and missed on a changeup, run on the move, and Tuck throw down is right on top of that bag. We see the arm of Mario Feliciano. Tuck gun down, a strike him out, and a throw him out. So getting to talk about things like pop time maybe in a bit.
Great pick right here by the shortstop to snack that little short hop and still apply the tag. Need some help from your friends out there.
Always thank your middle infielders, you catchers, and you pitchers. You just always thank your catchers all the time. Game All-American Classic. Perfect Game, the largest independent scouting association in the world, rolls on. Hey, by the way, don't forget a Tuesday night showcase game on MLB Network. Anthony Rizzo and Ian Kinsler, 2 sluggers who have been tearing it up all season long. They face off in Wrigley Field. It's John Smoltz, it's Bob Costas, it's Tom Verducci, it's the Tigers and the Cubs. MLB Network's Tuesday night showcase live at 8 Eastern, presented by Chevrolet. Talented players from Wrigley Field, a talented player down in the dugout, and a very unique player, not a switch hitter, a switch thrower. Brett Dolan, please help us explain.
Now he is a left-handed hitter, a left-handed pitcher, but it changes once you come to the infield. We see the gloves. Explain what happens when you come to the infield.
When I come into the infield, I'm a second baseman. I throw right-handed, and I catch occasionally, and I'm a right-handed thrower also.
So you have to know what position you're playing in order to know what glove you're using or how to warm up.
I just had to know what position I'm playing before the game. So yeah.
Now finally, this idea came from your dad, right? Because you're a power hitter. If you can be a right-handed infielder with your size, you generate more interest with scouts.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, it was all his whole idea, and everything he's done is just to get me to throw this way, and it's really hard. It was really hard, but I don't know. It's good now.
Hey, it's working, Darren. Carlos Cortez, always a lot of fun to see him throw both right-handed and left-handed.
Thank you very much, Brett. We appreciate it. Throwing it right-handed right now is Charles King. You met him in our open. Young man out of Texas. King, the big right-hander. We missed a quick description, but we'll get to him, of Brandon McElwain, who hit a ball hard to right field the other way. McElwain certainly an interesting study. He is a young man out of Newton, Pennsylvania, a South Carolina commit. McElwain, a commit in football and in baseball. He is a star quarterback. But Charles King, with his responsibility now, facing Grant Bodison. Bodison pulls that one foul, the South Carolina native.
On McElwain, guys, I was curious, so I watched his high school highlight football tape. It is, I'm telling you, Dave, it's worth doing. It's unbelievable. He's like Russell Wilson light. He just run around, aggressive runner, great thrower, and he's really come on. He's had a great summer in baseball.
Well, do you think we can sit him down and talk about the correct choice of going to baseball and letting that other sport go?
Yeah, no one will hit you in the head in baseball, or at least they won't blindside you.
Tell us more about Charles King.
You know, it's a lot of whip you see there, but here's what it is. It's fast, it's hot, but it's arms and legs. There's a little bit of gangle there, and you know, David, it's not always about the number. It's about what the hitter sees, and you'll see King has deception.
I think that's part of the success of any pitcher is how deceptive are you. Doesn't always regard the velocity, but you can see right there that good solid downward movement, down and in, 91 miles an hour. But the way he's slinging it, it's very difficult for those hitters to pick it up quickly.
Mario Feliciano out of Hato Rey in Puerto Rico. We saw his arm with the beautiful throw and a gun down to end the last half inning. The #1 catcher in Puerto Rico, Carlos Beltran Academy, and has played some travel ball here in the States in Florida with the FTB Pride. And he's a young man that going to Rady Children's Hospital was not a new thing for him. He had gone a lot with his mom and visited children's hospitals. San Jose Children's Hospital, a volunteer. And he said his mom is the one who really drummed into him that if you want to do anything well in life, you better do for others first. So Feliciano, as we mentioned, among that quartet of talented Puerto Rican players here in the Perfect Game All-American Classic. Bodison's on the move. Grant trying to swipe it, but it's fouled off. We talked just a bit about Grant Bodison at first base. We know his glove. He was the Rawlings Gold Glove winner last night out of Simpsonville, South Carolina. But Bodison, a pretty good athlete.
Yeah, and he's difficult to scout because he's a big name, but he's so athletic. He plays second base, which his body type doesn't really scream second base. So it's hard to know where he's going to end up. But one thing, he's performed. He's athletic. There's a lot of upside there. So his best baseball's ahead of him. Positionally, it's almost like Cortez. You don't know where he's going to end up, but that's a nice option to have.
Good change down and in, a swing and a miss. And right over the top of that one, and down he goes. You know, we were talking about the athleticism. This is the play that we spoke of earlier. At the National Showcase in Fort Myers, Florida, Bodison racing back over the shoulder with a last-minute jump and hauling it in. It was on every network, and especially this one a lot. Certainly was a viral sensation. He said, that day I gained 200 followers on Twitter after I made that play. So there's the play we told you about.
That's how all things are measured nowadays.
That's right.
How much did I add to my Twitter account?
There are his feet. He is on the move. The throw skitters on by. It's played on a backup by Luis Quintana. So there's the speed.
Just watching that play right there, watching him take off, kind of like Superman. Kevin Pillar of the Toronto Blue Jays made a play a couple of weeks ago out in right center field. As you take a look at this quick speed, gets to full speed after 1 or 2 strides.
That's, to me, such an underrated word in sports. He's quick, and he's quick twitch. And that, again, from a projection standpoint, you can't have enough of that.
Khalil Lee takes a pass ball that misses in just off the plate.
And I don't know how you feel about that, but I don't think that that's a learned thing. It's kind of God-given. It's in your DNA.
Yep.
Whether you're that quick twitch guy or not, it's tough to be able to learn how to become quick.
Pulled a sinking fastball away, and good life on that one, inducing the ground ball out. A lot of maturity in the delivery of Charles King. As rise and shine with MLB Central, the place where pennant chasers stop by, where the day's pivotal games are teed up, where there's always something a little bit unexpected just around the corner. MLB Central, weekdays at 10 Eastern on MLB Network. Great way to start your baseball day. We're glad you are wrapping up your baseball week with us on a beautiful Sunday evening in San Diego, California. We'll be joined by Trevor Hoffman, the chairman of this great event, and of course Tony Gwynn being honored out there in right field in the park beyond the right field wall. Zach Hess out of Forest, Virginia. He is a Virginia Tech commit. And Zach, the right-hander out of Liberty Christian Academy, plays his travel ball for the Dirtbags. What kind of pitcher is he?
Well, he's got a lot of things you can't teach. He's 6'6". The velocity, he's already shown some really high numbers into the mid-90s. And for Hess, again, we're going to see a guy with a lot of deception. 6'6", arms and legs going everywhere, really hard on the hitters. You see that big velocity. There's movement on that slider. When he is in the zone, and as he learns to repeat his mechanics as he gets older, he's going to be the upside again here is immense.
Yeah, I think sometimes the guys that grow very quickly. He's 6'6", still a very young man. It takes a little bit more time to get those mechanics kind of grooved to where you want to be able to repeat them time and time again.
Nicholas Quintana is who he will face to start things. Quintana out of Las Vegas, Nevada. Arbor View High School, Evo Shield Canes team. That sweeping breaking ball skips on to the backstop to Quintana. When you look back at the journey of Hess, and included last year attending the Junior National Showcase, which is just the week before the National Showcase, throwing 88 miles an hour. And later on that fall, and later on this spring and summer, he has seen a jump in velocity as he fires that one in there at 93. But in a year plus, 88 to 95, topping out at 95.
And to Dave's point, not only trying to repeat these mechanics as your body changes, but also trying to harness this enormous velocity, because you're going to get a lot of takes throwing 94.
Overthrew that breaking ball, nowhere close. Those funky mechanics, the front side spun off, and the arm never got there.
Let me tell you, as a hitter right now, you're going, okay, now what do I can't believe that ball did not get a piece of him.
You watch, Dave. Quintana's going to jump on a fastball right now. Quintana's a little bit of an old soul. He doesn't have the tools, but he really knows how to play. He's going to jump a fastball here.
And so he threw him a breaking ball.
Oh, man. Hey, that takes guts. You throw a breaking ball behind a guy and you come back with that pitch.
No, you can tell Hess has some faith in what he's got out there. As that scouting report said, it's an uncomfortable AB. I can tell already. A lot of arms and legs coming at you.
Those are the numbers in high school. Look, these pitchers all have dominating numbers in high school. As 93 dips down and away. This is a young man that was born with a birth defect in his feet as a very young man. Had to have surgery to correct it and kind of start things over as a real young man. So another part of the story that you're proud of what he's able to do.
He's an overcomer. And just looking at his stats from high school, 86 strikeouts and only 6 walks.
That's that breaking
incredible.
Ball. How about that bender over the outside corner? Speaking of command.
I'm glad we're up here.
Yeah, I'd say, and Dave, that shows you something. In this stage, the biggest game of Zach Hess's life, you throw a breaking ball behind a guy, and then you come back with 2 of them, and you're not going to see Quintana flinch like that very often. That's a big pitch.
Yeah, whenever you see a hitter react that way, you can tell he's not picking up the ball very well.
David Hamilton, the shortstop, out of San Marcos, Texas. He is a Texas Longhorn commit. Team City is his travel team and a really good student in the classroom. As that one cuts a little bit, a fastball at 92 down and inside. And Hamilton, look, we were talking earlier about a two-way player and McElwain in the outfield, but Hamilton in his own right a heck of a football player in high school at San Marcos. The Rattlers rushed for more than 2,000 yards, passed for more than 1,000 yards last year.
And he's the fastest player in this game, and that's no offense to Brandon McElwain. Just by the watch, has run the fastest 60 time this summer for perfect game. And this is a kid where he's got to get stronger as a hitter. But man, the actions at shortstop are outstanding, and he flies.
Well, you can't teach speed, as we talked before. Those are one of the things that you're just gifted with. The other things can come along. The strength, he'll start to grow into his body. But you want to be able to start off with those good mechanics and that good speed.
Hamilton, the #1 shortstop in Texas, #3 as ranked by Perfect Game in the United States. Spun off that bender again, and it stays outside. Those are those tools, that speed that you're talking about, the 6'4", 360.
That was one adjective that was never used with any of us. Blazing speed.
Hitters count. Let's see if he can use that speed. Find a gap somewhere. Right back to the bump, and an easy play in the end as Hess flips it on over. He doesn't throw anything straight. There's nothing straight.
No, you're a pitching coach, and you're going to need patience because, again, the stuff is going to change over time, but you're dying to get your hands on Zach Hess. This is what just raw materials to work with.
Yeah, I think that's a great description. Raw materials. He's going to learn. I think of some of the guys that I caught throughout my career. Randy Johnson came over from the Montreal Expos, 6'10". He was a guy that had to grow into his mechanics and learn how to be able to repeat, but he had the ability to throw the baseball through a wall.
Walker Robbins from the left side of that batter's box from Lakesville, Mississippi. 55 miles east of Hattiesburg, a small town not too far from the Alabama-Mississippi border. George County High School.
It's a great baseball family, the Robbins. Mason Robbins, his older brother, just finished a great career at Southern Miss and was part of a big recruiting class. Southern Miss, Brian Dozier's a Southern Miss guy. They went to the College World Series in 2009. Really good baseball down there. That's one of my favorite things about Perfect Game. When we were kids, you didn't get to play baseball against kids from other states. These kids are playing all 50 states.
2-0 the count on Robbins. He broke his bat there, and again, nothing straight. That is not your typical 2-0 swing. That is a dominating performance by Zachary Hess. A family event. Not only moms and dads, but this community in San Diego has really embraced it. We talked about the relationship with Rady Children's Hospital with regard to the Perfect Game All-American Classic, but also with the travel ball teams around here. Those that live in the community make their way over and spend time enjoying these talented players. Being here long enough, it has become a part of the baseball community, certainly. And this is a game that has been at Petco Park since 2009. 2008, prior to that, 1 year at Dodger Stadium. Before that, a pair of years, San Diego State, Tony Gwynn Stadium, and back east. in its early years in Aberdeen, Maryland. So a fun event, certainly. Drake Fellows, the right-hander, will face Joe Rizzo to lead things off out of Plainfield, Illinois. Joliet Catholic Academy, elite baseball training his travel team. He's a Vanderbilt commit.
Shockingly, another big arm going to Vanderbilt. They do such a great job getting arms. Fellows is a little bit like a Jared Weaver type. He's going to show his back to the hitter a little bit. Kind of a mid-3/4 arm slot, very good slider. Big frame, Joliet Catholic kid. That's a great high school baseball program. Produced Kevin Duchesne, who just had a great career at University of Illinois. So it'll be really fun to watch Fellows here.
0-1 the count on Joe Rizzo. Rizzo singled back in the first inning, hit a line drive into left center field. As we mentioned earlier, he watched this game on television last year and made it a commitment to get here. And that breaking ball sails high and out of the zone. Joe's family unable to make it out for this one, and family is very important to Joe Rizzo. Mom is Nancy, dad is Joseph, and he is so very proud of his younger sister, who's a competitive dancer, Rachel, and his older sister Jenna, who is autistic. And you can tell he is a man with a lot of personality, passion, and man, family comes first.
He's got an advanced Twitter game, if we could say
You
that,
bet.
and he's got charisma. This is a kid, you get him, if South Carolina gets him and Coach Chad Holbrook, you got a leader, you got a middle of the order guy. It's really, he's got a special way about him.
It's funny, gritty, gutty, dirtbag player. That's a compliment, but in a way that undersells his skill set. Does that make sense?
Yeah, because it's that he's got that it factor, kind of that follow me, and he's confident. He competes well. He's a student of the game. This is, for me, that leadership is priceless.
Thinking fastball, and he walks there in front of Carlos Cortez.
Guys, as I hear you describe him, those are the type of qualities that championship teams are made of. Those are the type of qualities that managers and organizations are looking for in their minor leagues and then eventually to get to their major leagues.
And he's a really good left-handed hitter to boot.
Cortez, mom is Karina, dad is Juan, and he has had a very busy summer, Carlos Cortez, like a lot of his teammates down there. Showcases, tournaments. Had a chance to go to the MLB All-Star game, be a guest on our preview show to preview this game on MLB.com. So there's been a lot of traveling.
Cortez is a guy for me that you need to watch him several times. The tools don't jump out at you, but he just can hit. And he knows it. That's my favorite part about it. He's got that necessary arrogance to be a great hitter. From a scanner perspective, it's hard to know where to put him in a draft, but man, he knows he can do it.
Breaking ball left up in the zone. What do you make of this, Dave Valley? Throwing with both hands.
Incredibly impressive. I understand that he broke his arm at a young age and his dad made him learn how to throw left-handed. But to be able to go from left to right as easily as he does, it's pretty impressive to see him come here and throw from the outfield. Both of them look very natural, as if he's been doing it since he was a 2-year-old.
And you saw him. There was a scrimmage the other night with a chance again for the hitters. Hitters all have to hit a whole bunch. But there were some local young pitchers that helped in the scrimmage. But guys that weren't going to pitched in the game. He pitched left-handed as well.
And for what that tells me, guys, he's just a baseball player. I mean, this kid's a baseball rat. He's that old school guy who's looking for a game every day. You can't have enough of them.
Stays back as long as he can on a very good changeup. The body may have leaked, but the hands didn't. That's a pretty approach. Carlos Cortez and Joe Rizzo back to back.
Anytime, even if you get fooled on a pitch, you're able to stay back, and that barrel will be able to find the baseball. You know you're going to be successful.
South Carolina's got a heck of a baseball tradition in recent times. They'd love to have those two guys in the middle of the order the next couple of years. That's the quick feet, the soft hands. This kid can hit. That we could just put the word hit on that scouting report. But they always say if you can hit, they'll put you on the field, Dave. But he's given you a lot of opportunities being right-handed and left-handed.
Yes, the bat will find a place to play, no question about it. But it sounds like he's got multiple options to be able to be effective for any team.
0-1 the count as that one is fouled off the bat of Drew Mendoza. One more thought on Cortez as he stands there at first, as Mendoza is 0 for 1. He's a 3.7 in the classroom, and he said, I'm a 3.7 because, simply put, my dad doesn't mess around.
He certainly doesn't.
I like his dad.
Good change of pace, swinging right over the top of it. 0-2 the count.
And that's something that's so important for all high school athletes. You have to understand it's so important to continue to get the work done, as we see this tremendous movement right there by fellows. It's so important. When my son was going through the recruiting process, that was like the first question every coach asks. So what are your grades? What'd you get on your SAT, your ACT? So they can eliminate one issue.
0-2 slider down and inside, swung right over the top of it.
And you, as a former recruiter for colleges, if you have two kids of two young men of equal talent, and one's a 3.7 and one's a 2.7, which way do you go?
Oh, it's a no-brainer. You see fellows breaking ball, good off-speed stuff. To your point, David, I love the expression in coaching, how you do anything is how you do everything. And you're so many choices. There's so many great players out there. You're looking for separators. And if you're a lazy student, you're just giving your competition a separator.
Couple of runners on out there for Josh Lowe. One out after the strikeout of Mendoza, as we are watching Drake Fellows work. Line drive well struck into left center field toward the gap. It goes. Hauled in out there by Jaron Shelby. Could be two, and it is. Joe Rizzo a little bit over aggressive. Thought that one might split the gap. We see the skill set of Jaron Shelby. One of the great states in our country, especially with regard to sports, the state of Wisconsin, the Badger State. Two representatives this year. Ben Rortford, we already saw him working behind home plate. A middle infielder out of Kenosha, Wisconsin, and ASU commit Gavin Lux. The first time Wisconsin has had an opportunity to send a couple of players to this game. And again, this is a state with just the one Division I baseball program, and it's not the Badgers. It's Wisconsin-Milwaukee, the Panthers, just one Division I baseball program. But again, we see cold weather guys making a national splash.
And I'll tell you, Wisconsin baseball, high school baseball is really coming on, and it's feeding the SEC. Look at Jaron Kendall. Kendall was a star freshman for Vanderbilt this year. Clark Egan plays for Arkansas. And again, Dave Van Horgen and his Arkansas staff have done a great job mining Wisconsin, and they've got two really good ones in Rortvet and Lux.
Speaking of the SEC, Braxton Garrett is committed to pitch in the Southeastern Conference for Vanderbilt. He is out of Florence, Alabama. 6'3", 190, the left-hander. Out of Florence High School, the East Cobb Astros, one of the great programs in the South with regard to travel baseball.
So does Vanderbilt have their entire freshman class here? It seems like how many have we seen already committing to Vanderbilt?
The good news, bad news for Vanderbilt is they've got a lot of great players committed, and the scouts know it. So their class quickly gets dipped into. Hard to get those elite guys to campus.
0-1 the count on the aforementioned Gavin Lux as he takes another good fastball at 91 that paints the outside. Lux, Indian Trail Academy, hitters baseball, his travel team. And talk about the classroom, he is a 3-year honor roll member heading into his senior year. That's a good looking bender on 0-2, misses outside.
Braxton Garrett's a son of a high school coach. His dad, Steve, a great high school coach, and he pitches like it. Great feel for the game, pitchability, we'll use that word again, knows how to adjust to hitters, and he would be a guy that Vandy would love to get to school.
That one is popped up and into the seats it goes. He certainly is proud of his coach and his dad, Steve, as you were talking about. Alabama's Mr. Baseball, Braxton Garrett. And when he speaks of his dad, and he shared that with us this week, he said, my dad has had to raise us alone. Just myself and 3 brothers, and he is everything I want to be in a man. Good fastball, but it buzzes the tower. 2-2 the count. Now, there's a smile out there, which is fun because these guys have spent all week together. So he spins out, then he smiles out there.
I love it, Dave. Not afraid to get your attention there.
Overthrew a breaking ball. That one is high.
That's a good at-bat right there.
I don't think that's 4, though, is it? I think being buzzed in the tower threw him off a little bit. All right.
I love it. Gavin Lux is every bit Wisconsin. This kid's a great athlete. He has been really fun to be around all week.
High fly ball, pretty well struck to right. That one is hauled in by Carlos Cortez. Look, we were talking about Vanderbilt, and this is what you mentioned, Dave. These are the players.
That's a good-looking group right there. You can catch that group, right?
Yeah, I could
put any number down you want.
I can win some games with those guys on the mound.
You get kids like that to campus. Tim Corbin's one of the best coaches in the country, but you get that group to school, you immediately become an even better coach.
You're talking about the #1 overall, #3 overall. Wow.
The reality of college baseball recruiting is if you could get 2 of the 4 of those to show up, that's a big victory. I mean, you're not, obviously, Jason Groom looks like a real long shot to come to campus, but if you got 1 or 2 of those arms, you're in great shape.
We caught him texting.
Love it. Tweeting maybe even.
Bouncing ball off the bat of Tyler Fitzgerald. Ranging to his left is Drew Mendoza. He makes the play for the out. Fitzgerald out of Rochester, Illinois, and a great baseball family. His dad, Mike Fitzgerald, a St. Louis first-round pick back in '84. Had a cup of coffee in '88. Worked behind the plate. He's one of your brethren. Tyler is committed to head to Louisville, but again, a very good baseball family out of Rochester High School in Illinois.
Yeah, the pleasure of getting to know Mike Fitzgerald. He played some with the Montreal Expos, the New York Mets, and then spent some time in big league camp with us with the Seattle Mariners at that time. But very good catcher, very good receiver. Great to see his son here.
Breaking ball is high and inside the Mickey Moniak. UCLA commit. Many say one of the best pure bats in this game. Louisville Slugger most outstanding offensive player of the year at the awards banquet last night. Doesn't overswing very much at all. We've seen that all week long. He does a lot of that. Went up and got a high fastball. Spun it right around. There are great family ties for Mickey Moniak, and he shows a pretty swing. His grandfather Bill, a brief time in the Red Sox organization where Ted Williams was his hitting instructor.
For me, Dave, there's a little bit of John Olerud in that swing where it's just very simple and very natural. There's not a lot of moving parts to that swing. This kid is just hit and hit and hit.
Yeah, John Olerud, one of the great first basemen. Not only a great defender, but he had that pure, beautiful, simple stroke, as you mentioned, just moving it back and moving it forward.
Jaron Shelby, who has gone on to play some defensively, takes a fastball up and away.
This is a great day for scouts with Moniak. He's got loud tools, speed, the hit tool, but he's a thin kid. So you don't know how's that body going to project. And then he's in this game. He faces Jason Groom for his first at bat and was not overmatched, and then faces a really more of a pitchability lefty here in Braxton Garrett. So as a scout, you're really getting to see what it's going to look like down the road with Moniak.
And just to be able to see him against 2 very good left-handers. That last approach that he had before rifling that ball into right field for a base hit tells you how he just stays in there. That front shoulder stays in. Hands get to the ball very quickly.
Jaron Shelby out of Tate's Creek High School. What a proud family, the Shelby family, with regard to who they are collectively as a family. We met Mom Trina, and she shared a lot of stories about their family. We spoke coming on the air about Jeremy, his brother, who battled through Hodgkin's disease. Went on to have a professional career in the minors, as did older brother John T. Javon is a draft-eligible player this year at Kentucky. Cousin is Josh Harrison, who plays for the Pittsburgh Pirates oh so very well. And family is everything when you talk about the Shelby family, including Mom Tiara, or I should say Sis Tiara, as he is on the move. Moniak, and had a huge jump on the pitcher there.
Tremendous read right there by Moniak. You talk about those baseball instincts, the ability to just pick some things up. He drew a couple of throws over there and then went on first movement, and Garrett had nothing to do. He was already committing home. But take a look how quickly he goes. As soon as that lake comes up, he's off and running, doesn't even have to slide. But son, you should definitely slide.
That's right.
They do have washing machines here. Make sure you slide on in there.
That's really Moniak's most underrated tool, I think, is his speed. But to your point, Dave, these San Diego kids, something about this area, the baseball instincts are off the charts.
Don't you think it's because of the amount of games that they play?
It's got to be.
That's one thing that you see. We were talking about the kids from the north. They don't get that the amount of reps that kids in the south and in the west do get. So you've got to be able to experience those situations.
He's on his way to third. The throw spiked into the dirt by Feliciano, but you know what? That didn't make a difference. He had a huge jump, and he stole that one on the pitcher.
And again, it comes back to those instincts. Lefties traditionally struggle to hold runners at second base. Moniak those instincts. He knows that gets an enormous jump, really fearless in the way he stole that base. this kid is a special kind of player.
And it really wasn't a very big lead out there at second base. He kind of outran that one.
Georgian Luke Berryhill is behind the plate, by the way, just to correct things. A lot of quick moving changes. All these players getting a chance, and Berryhill, we will talk more about him in just a bit. 3-2 the count, 2 outs. The West looking to strike first. They have won the last 4 games in this series. Winning it last year 7-0. Names like Colby Allard and Ash Russell, if you follow the draft in last year's game. Swing and a miss, set a breaking ball right over the top of it. Here imparting his wisdom, and Trevor joining us up here in the broadcast booth to talk about these young players and to talk a little bit about the week that was with these players. You had a chance, you're a sports dad as well, like we talked with Dave, but you had a chance to impart baseball wisdom and paternal wisdom as well.
No doubt. It's great to be able to mix the two of those together, and also have the ability to draw from your own experience as a dad with your own son. So you kind of know where they're coming from. That playing field is somewhat even, and it's great to be able to do that with them.
Ryan Zephyr-John takes the ball and goes to work. Does so for the West team. The right-hander out of Topeka, Kansas. A couple of fastballs right around 90 miles an hour. Seaman High School, next level baseball, his travel team, and the #2 overall player in the state of Kansas. 1-1 the count on Alex Kirilov as that one dips outside. Both you and Dave, very successful careers, but you guys reflect back to when you were younger players. It has evolved a bunch at the amateur level.
That's an understatement, isn't it? These kids are getting exposed to such great talent early in their careers. You talked about it.
Out to your beach house?
I did. It was a great opportunity to kind of show them a little bit of San Diego. Maybe hopefully one day forms on those guys.
For some of those landlocked kids up north, right? Oh, this is what the ocean looks like.
And our water temperature right now is probably 70, 71, and their reward, it was a little cold. I'm going, this is about as good as it's going to get, boys. So they did. They had a good time. Blew off some steam. Great to see them kind of all come together. It was a good time had by all.
Luis Curbelo, that one skips into the dirt. That's a wild pitch. So Kirilov with a pretty swing. You saw it a moment ago. Advances on a wild pitch. Not only did he host them, he fed them. He had the taco stand out there, the street tacos, authentic. And the young man had to play by Trevor's rules, though, which is kind of the perfect game rules on this trip. Part of it, and we'll show some of the pictures here in just a moment. A part of the adventure for these young men, certainly as Trevor said, was getting out, maybe doing some swimming, playing a little football, but also in between volleyball games, you had them on the ground doing push-ups.
Well, they got to earn their spot. I mean, there's going to be a winner and there's going to be a loser. And if you lose, you got to pay your debt. And that was 10 push-ups. I wasn't asking much. It was kind of fun to see who was willing to do it and who wasn't. But we had a good time with it as it was.
Well, I love the fact that all these young men got a taste of what it's like to see what a big league life could do.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
So many of them are going to have that opportunity going forward.
And that was some of the things we talked about, choices and opportunity. Understand running with the winners, what that means. The world's in front of them, and they're going to have many options in the next year or so to see how that plays out. But you want them to be making good choices.
The 3-0 green light, and Curbelo hits it a mile high. Coming on in and making the play is Cole Stobie. This was the week and part of it for these players out at Trevor's house in Del Mar, California. Into the water, Austin Bergner. That's kind of faux surfing, to be fair. We don't want to scare all those scouts out there. We don't want to scare anybody that they were all standing and surfing, but they certainly were having a good time at Trevor Hoffman's house.
It's a great thing what editing can do, right?
Exactly. Tandem surfing, the waves looked 10 feet. It was great.
Alexis Torres has a chance to hit now. Runner on the move. That one gets by. Royford trying to catch that one. That was a stolen base, though. Not clearly a wild pitch, but a stolen base. And again, these catchers dealing with pitchers that they're just needing.
It's a tough task. I mean, you're talking about every single inning. You've got a young man coming out there with different stuff. They're all throwing 90+, which is amazing to me, Trevor. All these young arms. These are big guys. This guy gets a good jump right here. With the ball being in the dirt and him unable to pick it, he advances on to third base. But are you a little surprised at the talent level of these 16, 17, and 18-year-old guys?
I am, and I think we see that at the big league level. You know, there isn't a bullpen that doesn't have guys 95 and above, and really you look at it now, it kind of starts at this stage in their careers. How they're learning the mechanics, how they're learning their bodies.
at such an early age. That's why they're able to peak like they can.
The West pulls the infield all the way in, trying to knock down the run.
I was going to say, did you get a chance to teach any of them how to throw a changeup?
The West asked.
I like that. They're smart.
It was hard to get some questions out of them.
They're one of the greatest ever to live and play the game. Why wouldn't you ask?
It was, you know what? I had a decent pitch, and so they were smart enough to ask. And you know,
a decent pitch. Listen to this.
It's something that we've passed on in the Padres system a little bit. Whether or not certain guys can understand that part of it, they were great to be able to ask that question, and it kept it pretty simple. And we'll see what happens with how they took it.
Alexis Torres ran a 6.7 4.60 at the National Showcase, through 92 miles an hour across the infield. We are getting to know him as he has stepped in for Nolan Jones in this spot in the order. Fastball over the outside corner. Zephyr doing some painting with a fastball away. The legendary Trevor Hoffman here in San Diego, California, not only a big part of this team and its history, a big part of the franchise currently. There's a great video that motivates the crowd to get ready for each game that was hosted by Trevor Hoffman. Stopped certainly in Milwaukee. Some good memories there. The more than 601 saves, and as that one skips into the dirt, is it far enough? The flip to the plate. Covering is Zephyr, and he just missed getting him. A very close play. Kirilloff scampered home. Good athleticism by the pitcher, Zephyr coming home.
Yeah, not an easy play right there for the pitcher to be running full speed, catch the ball, and try to apply a tag. It's a tough pitch to block as well. Well out into the front. It's a slider, but it actually kicks the opposite way, kicks off to the left side. Catcher does a nice job of getting to the ball, but it looks like the left hand got in there.
Brandon McElwain drives it into right center field. Toward the gap it goes. That one is down off the base of the wall, and look at him go. Touches second. On his way to third. The football baseball star with the slide, a triple. Now, Trevor, there's some athleticism on display.
There's some athleticism for sure. Getting it out there in our right center gap where it's pretty large allows him to get his wheels rolling. We kind of looked at one of our Padres, Matty Kemp, in Colorado the last couple days to get our first cycle in franchise history. That kind of looked a little bit like that.
Yeah, I was a little surprised that was the first time it happened with all the years of great teams that the Padres had. But this ball, charge is put into this one. It actually hits in that little kind of alcove out there, right by the Fox San Diego sign.
There you go. It's a nice play by our center fielder right there, in position for the carom.
Francisco Tomas grounds it out to short. David Hamilton bobbles it enough, and the run will score. So miscue out there at shortstop. And an opportunity for the aggressive base running of McElwain to pay off. Francisco Tomas out of Puerto Rico makes his at-bat count.
There's another ball that's hit right on the button to Hamilton at short. It kind of just crawls up his glove and off his chest. And able to recover to get off a throw. Just like that last hop just jumped up over the glove.
How does Perfect Game do things right with regard to dealing with youth baseball?
You know, that I think they're first and foremost, they understand it's about the players. It's health first. They're always concerned about where their players are at, how they're handling the certain showcases that they're a part of, and how they can best, supply the information that they need to be successful. So it's a great organization. I've had a blast working with the Ford family. And as you can see, they know what talent looks like, and they make sure they get them here in San Diego.
Luke Berryhill out of Canton, Georgia. He's a Georgia Southern commit. The #1 catcher in the state, the #1 catcher in the United States. And at the National Showcase, Dave Valley had a pop time of 177. What does that mean?
That means you can throw out just about anybody if your pitcher gives you half a chance.
If the pitcher does his job. We don't need my big leg kick for him. We'd be in trouble.
Just to give you an idea, though, Darren, two flat is typically a average big league catcher. So he's,
in a game,
he's 0.2 of a second less.
And
so that works.
Obviously, he's not doing it under the pressure of a game, so it is a showcase setting, but still pretty good stuff.
No, I think that just shows you that he's got good footwork, he's got good catch and release ability, and he's got a very strong arm.
He's related to Buster Posey. Barely. We don't want to go through all the different ways that he is related. There's a cousin, there's an uncle, there's an aunt. But you know what? If you're a catcher and you're related to a fellow Georgian who's a pretty good catcher in his own right, you claim that relationship. right?
Absolutely. I'd like to be related to Buster Posey.
2-2, a slider, and he gets a swing and a miss. Berryhill goes down on strikes. Thank you for hosting us all week. Thank you for hosting us in your home, and obviously for being an honorary chairman.
Thanks so much. Thanks for having me.
Thanks
for Trevor Hoffman. Next year, he is heading to Cooperstown. We're going to have to hurry him back to this game. Glad to have you back in San Diego, California. The Perfect Game All-American Classic moving on 2-0. And some offense being generated by the East squad as they grab a 2-0 lead. Right-hander Tyler Baum goes to work for the East squad. Baum, big fella, 6'3", out of Ocoee, Florida. He's a North Carolina commit. West Orange High School, the Orlando Scorpions. A young man that a couple years back at a Perfect Game showcase, 2 years to be exact, on Memorial Day in 2013 was throwing 78 miles an hour. This year at the 17U Perfect Game World Series in Goodyear, Arizona, about 2 weeks back, he threw 94.
This is a kid, a late comer. You know, it's a really wiry frame. He's a quick twitch athlete, but we talk about the TrackMan software now that's helping in scouting. 2,800 revolutions with his breaking ball. For me, Dave, you're going to see one of the best breaking balls in this game, and he's really newer to pitching. He's really come on. North Carolina's got a good one here.
Yeah, 28 ranks up there with major league rotations.
Yeah. Isn't it amazing how some kids can just spin it? There's a little bit of God-given there too, I think.
Blake Rutherford, a pretty piece of hitting. Down the line he goes, and it's a foul ball. He will do it again. Let's get back down to the dugout. Mickey Moniak is standing by with Brett Dolan, guys.
Yeah, he certainly is. And Mickey Moniak was involved in a special on-field ceremony between the half inning. And introduce our guy right here and tell us what took place.
This is Bryson Newman. He is a member of the San Diego show, same travel ball team I am. And he was recently diagnosed with cancer. And, you know, he's hanging in there at Rady Children's Hospital and fighting and staying strong. So we're all behind him here in San Diego.
It's a great moment. Certainly this is all about Rady's Hospital as well. In addition to some of the best high school players in the country, you are a San Diego native, though. I hear a lot of applause when you come up and get the stolen bases. I know you have a big pass list here today.
Yeah, no, I got a lot of family and friends here today. And, you know, I'm blessed to have them here. I'm grateful they're here. And, you know, I'm glad I could you know, show out for him a little bit.
All right, final thought. We've already heard about Ted Williams. He was your grandfather's hitting coach for a period of time. So how much impact did he pass along to you?
Everything. You know, he taught me my approach. He taught me, you know, a lot of my hitting tools that I use today, and, you know, I'm really grateful for him.
That's Mickey Moniak. We'll send it back upstairs to you guys.
Good stuff, Mickey, in a very touching moment. A very big swing of the bat by Blake Rutherford. We saw him show very strong in the home run derby, and he crushed us to the biggest part of the ballpark.
You know, it's a real UCLA theme here, guys. John Savage, UCLA, become one of the best recruiting programs in the country. Moniak, he shows you what kind of kid he is. Rutherford, I'm telling you, Dave, all week this kid has been doing it, showing tremendous power. He absolutely flies. He's a thicker kid. I mean, he is tooled up.
I had a chance to watch him take batting practice here today, and you can tell the bat speed, the quickness, the plate discipline, and being able to drive that ball the opposite way. That was left of center off the base of the wall. This, for the folks who are watching, this is a big ballpark, and it plays big. And that young man just spanked one off the center field wall.
In the scrimmage the other night, and so you saw it, he hit a triple, and he went home to third. If you blinked, you missed it. He made it look like it was a Little League field, like he was on the wrong field. He has been dynamic all week.
San Diego native Avery Tuck with a breaking ball that misses high and away. Tuck, mom is Cheryl, dad is Richard. He served our country, his dad in the United States Navy, so Avery moved around a little bit when he was younger. He's at Steel Canyon High School now. 1-2, breaking ball spins high again.
Oh, to be 6'5" and a left-handed hitter. Count me. Yes and yes. Count me in.
I'm thinking Darryl Strawberry. Some guys with some incredible talent.
Rolls that one foul up the first baseline. He also played a little bit of football, just enough last year to get his feet wet. We'll focus on baseball this year. He also has pitched very successfully in high school. Avery Tuck has as well. You know, the 6'5" you're talking about still running a 6'8", 860.
And I think with that type of athleticism that Tuck has shown, that number would also go down. I think as he gets stronger and he starts to learn how to run a little bit better, those numbers can be improved upon.
How's that one off at home plate? Tuck, along with Mickey Moniak, have really acted as the host this week when Perfect Game announced the All-American Classic back here at Petco Park in June. Moniak was back in Cary, North Carolina, working with the United States national team. Rutherford's out there at second, hoping to be plated. But Tuck came out and stood on the field, was handed the diamond, got to meet a lot of the Padres as well. Swing and a miss. Out front of a changeup. Tuck hosted that night, but Moniak has been hosting all week along with Avery Tuck as well. It's time for our Player Spotlight, brought to you by Perfect Game, the most respected independent scouting service in all of baseball. Not only a pretty swing, but really good feet. He showed him off with a single and a couple of stolen bases.
You know, he's a special talent for sure, guys, but you could see just in that interview, this is a special kid. I mean, he's a first-round person in addition to it, so it has been really fun to be around that kid this week.
Cole Stobie goes after a fastball, puts it on the ground, out to short, sticking on the bag. Max Guzman, some good footwork there on the long throw across the diamond. Out there at short doing that work. We saw him come in earlier. Francisco Tomas, the shortstop.
As you're talking about Moniak and the quality of the person that he is, I know of so many organizations, major league organizations, that look for character guys. They want character guys on their team, in that locker room. It's not something that is overlooked.
I think a great example of that, Kyle Schwarber goes 4th overall to the Cubs a couple years ago, and it was a little shocking. He was maybe a first rounder, but maybe not 4th overall, and the makeup was a big part of it. Really helped elevate his draft status.
Roll to the right side. That's catcher Ben Roark, but that is a heck of a play by Alexis Torres, taking a base hit away. Our defensive play of the game brought to you by Rawlings. Rawlings Gold Glove defensive play of the game, the #1 brand in all of baseball. There's a statement with some of the professional and college coaches all looking on.
Alexis Torres, I could watch him take ground balls all day. He's a guy that you could tell he really takes the craft of defense seriously. He's got great hands, very quick around the baseball. He's been fun to watch defensively.
I love watching middle infielders lay out like that to the left side. They don't go into the slide. They're going all out there, and he makes a tremendous play and robs the catcher of a knock.
Ben Roark, but that's exactly right. Carl Kaufman is in the center of the diamond on the mound with all these youth players looking on. Kaufman out of Brother Rice in the Detroit area from Bloomfield Hills, Michigan. He's a U of M commit, Midwest Athletics, his travel team. And this is a talented pitcher with, as they say, a bowling ball fastball.
It's a power sinker. It might be the best sinker in this game. And Kaufman, we talked about how Perfect Game has helped make this a national game in so many ways, and he's committed to Michigan. I would argue he's really the best pitching recruit University of Michigan has committed in a long time, and who knows if he gets through the draft, but he's got great sink. He's gonna be fun to watch.
Khalil Lee to lead things off. That fastball trying to light up the radar gun as he touches 92 right out of the gates. He got as high as 93 at the National Showcase with the curveball and a changeup as well. Kaufman fires it away. 1-1 the count to Khalil Lee.
You're catching a sinker ball guy like this, Dave. Do you worry about the adrenaline they start throwing through the sink sometimes?
Yeah, I think anytime a sinker ball guy is strong, that's typically when those balls start to flatten out because they're throwing too hard. That's when you have to get them back and tell them to sit back, stay back, because the tendency is to jump out there because you're feeling so good. The adrenaline's kicking in. You want them to stay back just a little bit more and get that downward tilt. If you looked at those last 3 pitches right there, they're all fastballs that are running up and away. And with the sinker baller, clearly you want that downward tilt running down and away.
The right-hander against Lee on 3-1. Broke his bat. And just enough late movement. A pitch that was in and off the plate. Fly ball to right field. Fletcher out there, and he puts that one away. Change in the outfield. Some changes all around. We'll just do this. We'll point them out when they make a play. Dominic Fletcher out of Cypress, California with a huge arm is in right field.
Arkansas commit. Arkansas is a program that will jump out at you. They've got Wertvik committed. They've got Fletcher committed. They've done a really good job in recruiting, and they've got some really good ones in this game.
So Joe Rizzo now with his 3rd shot. He has walked, he has singled. And again, this has kind of been Joe's week.
Having a nice day, too.
Hoffman, a very good athlete, a heck of a high school basketball player at Brother Rice as he flips his lid off that time. Fires outside, 1-0 the count. Hoffman celebrating his birthday yesterday. And boy, everyone knew about it. He was kind of humiliated in a fun way at the All-American Classic banquet last night. As that fastball is high, made him stand. We had him stand and sing happy birthday to him in front of hundreds and hundreds. Executives in the baseball industry, all of his teammates. That was probably the hardest part, all of his teammates.
The MC was kind of tough on Kaufman last night. He was. He may or may not be in this booth.
Yes, he was. That one is high. 2-0 the count. Great family. They're out here, Denise and Ray, mom and dad, and they made the trip out, fortunate enough to get out here. And Brother Rice, a good sports school. DJ LeMahieu, we know his name. Nick Plummer, first-round pick. St. Louis Cardinals, 23rd overall pick this year out of Brother Rice. That's high. That's ball 4. So Rizzo now has been on 3 times. So Dave, for me, in a game like this, and that pitch is the perfect example. For me, if I'm in his shoes, I don't want to walk. I'm not going to show patience. But that's a good sign for a hitter to not chase out of his comfort zone.
I think the scouts in this building right now that are watching, the college scouts and the pro scouts, they recognize that type of at-bat right there. A lot of pitches that were kind of around the strike zone. He laid off them, showed that patience, showed that plate discipline. Those are things that go into your book saying that this is a plus right there.
1-0 the count to Carlos Cortez. He singled back in the 4th inning, line to left field. Cortez also put on the spot at the banquet last night as well. We decided to shake things up a little bit, and banquets can get a little bit long, let's be honest. And so Carlos Cortez and Grant Bodison, who we talked about earlier, folks, in this game, very quick, talented young middle infielder from South Carolina, they actually raced. It was a table, you know, formal setting, but formal table to formal table, and they had to high-five Trevor Hoffman in their lap around the beautiful Hall of Champions.
So who won?
Bodison. Cortez claimed he was cut off, but it was Bodison the whole time. It was walking only. Don't be nervous, any of you scouts out there. We didn't have him running in dress shoes through a dining room.
Yeah, that's a little bit of a mismatch. Carlos Cortez, a great player, but a foot race with him and Grant Bodison, they're 2 different classes of runners there.
There's some of those watchful eyes in the stands. Line to left field, hit it hard, and also singled. Lines that one to right field. It's down for a base hit. Fletcher shows that arm off to third. It goes. And good aggressive base running by Joe Rizzo. Kind of the 2 and the 3 in the order on that E squad, showing us the stars of this game, Rizzo and Cortez.
And we're looking at why the Evo Shields team has won about 1 billion games this summer. This is 2 of their main hitters. I'll tell you, this is what's interesting about Cortez. Now he's got to hit up the middle. He's got to hit on the pull side. He's 5'8". You're not sure where his position is, but man, if I'm a scout, I keep coming back to he can hit, and he just does it over and over again.
And this is a great swing right here. It's a pitch down and out over the plate. Keeps that barrel through the ball and drives it into the right center field gap. You'd probably like to see that right fielder keep the double play and not allow him to get to second base in that situation.
Catch 22, right? In this game, the good baseball play is for Fletcher to throw the ball to second base. But quite honestly, if I could have told him what to do, I would have said throw it to third.
That arm, son.
That's right. Let us see it.
Rizzo.
It was a great play by him cutting that ball off, though. He went into that slide, was able to stop it from rolling out there to the wall.
We showed a shot of Rizzo a moment ago. He's making sure everything's all right with that leg. He and Noni Williams, the new third baseman, came together, and I think the spikes ended up grabbing a part of his leg or his hand down there.
Yeah, I think it was his hand. He was kind of ripping on that. That right hand, you saw him, he might have jammed his thumb. Looked like that it kind of rolled over right there as he's looking at that right hand. Hopefully there's no long-term issue with that.
2-1 the count.
This is Mendoza, the hitter, is a really interesting guy. 6'4", ton of ability. There is some swing and miss in there, Florida State commit. he faced Brady Singer in the regular season of his high school this year. Brady Singer was a second-round pick who actually is going to go to Florida next year. Hit 2 home runs off of Brady Singer, a second-round pick. And then I believe broke his wrist and missed the rest of his high school season. So Mendoza, a lot of potential, 6'4", left-handed swinger, good feel for the game. But, you know, again, like we talked about, Dave, he's a bigger kid. It's going to take more repetitions.
But you start to see that type of athleticism in a man that is 6'4". Right now he's at shortstop. We've seen the era of shortstops where you had the Cal Ripkins and the Alex Rodriguez's of the world. Guys that were big in body but were able to get the job done at short.
2 great pitches in a row from that right arm of Carl Kaufman. Aggressive hitter, back-to-back changeups.
And this one has some serious drop, sinking down and away. Very good pitch right there.
So to me, that's a sign that he's calmed down a little bit. You make a pitch like that, even though his back's even more so against the wall, he's getting comfortable out there.
And you're back against the wall in this format. I mean, it would be very easy to panic and the game to completely speed out of control for you. I agree. Kaufman really shows you something to be able to compose himself in this setting.
This is Herbert Iser hitting out of Miami, Florida. He's a Miami commit, actually born in Montego Bay, Jamaica. The #1 catcher in the nation and the #2 overall player in Florida. FTB Tucci, his travel squad, as he rolls a good changeup foul.
It's one thing you keep hearing about this draft class, especially on the high school side. There's just so many enormous tools you can dream on, and I've never seen so many enormous left-handed hitters in my life. These are just big. I told Sut, I've been short my whole life. I've never felt so short as I have this weekend.
Fouled off at home plate. 1-2 the count on Iser. Good student in the classroom since 6th grade. He has been an honor roll student. His brother, successful ball player as well, Alfredo Jr., plays at Broward Community College. Was a perfect game alum as well. Big wide open stance, almost going line to line in that box as he fouls it off.
That's what's so exciting about this game. Next June, we're going to be watching the draft on MLB Network, and we're going to say, I mean, half of the kids that we're going to see picked in that first round, we got to see them for this weekend and for this game, which is really awesome.
Well, and I've only been here for a short period of time, but I've seen some amazing talent already.
Swing and a miss. That changeup, the magic bean, if you will, for Kaufman. He reached into it and he grabbed it, and a couple of huge strikeouts with runners on 2nd and 3rd. His back was against the wall, batted around a bit. He got comfortable. And then the young men out of the great state of Michigan settled in nicely. MLB Network, the road to October begins with hope, while every player and fan share one desire. Ultimately, it ends in joy. Feel the pennant chase on MLB tonight, tomorrow night, at 6, and every night on MLB Network, getting you set for October. It won't be this October, but October down the road, we will see this uniform these players are wearing debuted all around the land on other teams, but not now. The special preview tonight. The uniforms brought to you by Nike, and standing by with that story is Brett Dolan.
Thank you, Darren. It's all about the swag. These players get geared up at this event, and Mitzi Yonezawa of Nike is here to explain. First and foremost, Mitzi, the shoe that the players are wearing today.
Yes, so Nike Baseball focuses on the showcase player, much like these Perfect Game All-Americans, and we wanted to launch our newest innovations with them first. So this is the newest edition of our Nike Huarache franchise. It's a Nike Huarache 2K Filth. It features a new plate, geometric divots that are engineered to prevent dirt clink, Nike Flywire on the upper for lockdown fit, and full-length Nike Max Airs for lightweight cushioning.
All right, now tell us about the jersey.
Sure, these are the newest Nike Vapor Elite uniforms that won't be on field until 2017 in the spring season. It's it's lightweight, breathable, and made out of 4-way stretch woven material to help move with the athlete's body.
All right, now before we go back up, let's take a look at this undershirt and explain the significance of the logo quickly on that.
Sure, this is a kite from Rady Children's Hospital's logo, and it's placed on the chest to keep the cause of pediatric cancer close to the athlete's heart.
Absolutely, Darren. It's a wonderful event. Nike's a great partner, and I love this undershirt.
Yeah, that is great stuff. And Brett, thank you for doing that. Nicholas Quintana flies out to right field to end things. Ben Baird now with his opportunity to hit. We saw Ben come on defensively. Ben, the #1 fundraiser for Rady Children's Hospital, and that needs to be mentioned. Raising more than $6,000 on his own. Both of these teams came together for the cause of fighting childhood cancer as he deals with Cole Reagans on the mound. And they raised nearly $50,000, these young men, on their own in fundraising, as that one has fouled off. So we saw it near their heart on the Nike undershirt there, and certainly taking it to heart was Ben Baird out of Agora Hills, California, out of Agora High School. Garcia Baseball Group Marucci, his travel team. 3-time scholar athlete, and he can run a little bit.
You can spend 5 seconds with Ben Baird. You know he's an incredible kid, not shocked at all what he did fundraising. And he's a Washington commit. It would be incredible for them. That's a program really on the rise because he's got the intangibles, David, the leadership. He's a high energy kid. Love the way he approaches the game and really life.
Well, just hearing what he did, you know, it's so important for these young men to learn as quickly as possible that it's not about you. When you go out there and you perform and this game gives you the things that this game will offer you, it's so important to be able to use that platform that you have to have an impact on others. And clearly he has learned this at a very young age.
Cole Reagans, left-hander out of Florida, skips a fastball in there. He's a Florida State commit out of Crawfordville. North Florida Christian High School, Orlando Scorpions travel team. This team won a state championship this year, the high school team. The #1 left-handed pitcher in the Sunshine State. And that one skips in there off the mask. That one went in pretty hard. Luke Berryhill.
Reagan's one of those typical lefties you can dream on. There's a lot of arms and legs, big kid, 6'4". There's arm strength in there. It's a real over-the-top arm slot, and there's repeatability issues. But this is a kid with a ton of potential. You'd be a great get if Florida State can get him to campus, and he's obviously had a great career.
Walker Robbins gets in with the bat in his hands. We talked earlier about Zepp Labs. This is our perfect game stat of the game. Bat speed, Cole Stobie the leader, but Robbins up and over. A bat speed of 100 miles an hour. That Zepp technology, and there is some bat speed as that one is rifled into right center field. It is down. Cortez will chase it all the way to the wall. McElwain will fire it in from center field. A run will score into third. Another triple in this contest. Athleticism on display. Racing all the way around, the young man out of Mississippi, Walker Robbins.
Well, I'm sure that bat speed right there was more than 103 as we saw on that list. But this was a loud sound as his ball is driven into that right center field gap.
And again, it's so fun. We get to see really talented left-handed hitters against really talented left-handed pitchers. And Robbins is again, from a great baseball family, but that's a really strong hit tool right there, left on left.
Breaking ball looked like he got a swing there. He certainly did. Gavin Lux, who flied out to right field back in the 4th inning. You were talking about Walker Robbins and the things he has done this week. Also a very good defensive first baseman with a nice glove on the corners defensively. He's headed to Mississippi State. Should he make it there? Lux, an ASU commit. That's Arizona State University. That's a good way to get away from those Wisconsin winters.
That's a big, big upgrade.
1-1 the count. So head coach Tracy Smith, who had made the move from Indiana out to ASU, managed to get Gavin's attention.
We had a funny story that we heard for Tracy Smith, who's such a character at Arizona State. He saw, you know, obviously he's got Reggie Lawson committed as well, and they saw him at a tournament this summer where Reggie was really blowing up, and Tracy Smith kind of went into him and said, well, I'm probably not going to see you, but congratulations on how well you're doing. And Reggie said, quote unquote, forks up, baby. Is saying, hey, I'm coming to school. And Tracy's like, well, no, I mean, come on. And we know that, you know, this is, you're talking first 10 picks. And Reggie said back at him, I'm telling you, forks up, baby. It was pretty awesome.
And of course, the battle cry, the pitchfork of the Sun Devil, the forks up. And there within lies that middle ground.
He's just trying to give coach a little bit of hope. Hang on to that little bit of hope.
Yeah.
How do you do that? All those years, all the recruiting that you did, you can't pull against your kid that you just signed.
Yeah, it's, you know, at some point in the recruiting process, you go from trying to sell them on coming to school to get them to sign as many baseballs as you can before they become a star.
3-2 the count to Gavin Lux. Little roller out toward third. It hugs the line, and it's a foul ball. Out of Kenosha, as we mentioned. A couple of times he has been all state.
Really fun to watch play shortstop, too. He's super quick twitch and almost gets ahead of himself, but he's got great actions at shortstop. He's a guy that I think can really stay at that position.
Hung around with that one. He calls his uncle Augie Schmidt his great baseball inspiration. He said he's mentored me since I was 10. Augie, a couple of years back in '82, was a first-round pick of Toronto. A little bit of time battling it up to the big leagues, but it is his uncle that takes a ton of time for his nephew now, and Lux certainly didn't forget about it when he talked about it earlier this week. Outside corner, late call of strike 3 at 89 miles an hour. So Lux goes down on strikes. Good fastball.
A lot of uncomfortable at bats left on left. That's why you catchers are so valuable, Dave. Look at that. Steal strike 3 right there.
That was about a foot off the plate, but that's the one he's going to go back and watch this game. I'm sure he's taping it. Good eye, son. Don't swing at that pitch.
Cole Reagans, give your post-game pizza to your catcher. That's well done right there.
Fitzgerald showed those great wheels at the National Showcase, running a 6'5", 260, despite being almost 6'4". Tyler Fitzgerald. We spoke of his dad earlier. And Mike had that run through professional baseball as that one sails high and away. There's also brother Mike Jr., who went to Indiana State and was a Padres 27th round pick back in 2014. So we were talking about Zepp Labs as our Zepp and perfect game stat of the game. There is some live tracking going on right now. This is exactly what occurred. So the bat speed wasn't completely overwhelming. The hand speed, that's fairly quick, time to impact. And then the attack angle. And those are the Zepp numbers, and scouts understand that a lot better than I do sitting up here, certainly. And that one is low and in the dirt, 3-1 the count, but that's how quick that technology can occur. You can also use your smartphone to gain that information. So that's why Zepp Labs kind of at the cutting edge. We still have to, I'm sure you get a lot more than I do, but we still have to learn about it, but it's great for these players.
Well, scouting's a snapshot, right? You see a kid one day and they change, they get better. So that's more data that you can help track a kid and see, confirm what your eye's telling you, that this kid is getting better and his bat speed's increasing.
So they will visit and a quick conversation. By the way, that'll give us a chance to talk about the coaching staff for the East squad. Tim Held comes out. He is out of Moeller High School in Cincinnati. Manny Hermosillo is on that coaching staff, a legendary coach, Montgomery High School in San Diego. Luis Lorenzana out of Eastlake High School in San Diego. And Tim Lowry, love being around him, a great baseball guy. Cosby High School, Midlothian, Virginia, the coaching staff for the East squad. Moeller High School, if you really are a baseball fan and you want to go back a few years, Ken Griffey Jr.
He was decent.
Sir. Junior was the #1 pick back, I believe, 1987.
Jeff Sherman, the head coach of the West squad out of Marcus High School in Flower Mound, Texas, as that fastball grabs the corner. Eddie Johnson also on that coaching staff out of Mater Dei Catholic in Chula Vista, California. Brett Kay at J. Sarah Catholic High School in San Juan Capistrano, California. Is that 0-1 misses low, 1-1 the count. Rounding out the West coaching staff, Manny Hermosillo Jr., also Montgomery High School in San Diego, California. You think of the wisdom that goes into, because there's a little bit of a give and take as the 1-1 is hit hard but foul up the first base line. High school players have choices to make, and they certainly want to continue to play and play and play. They want to be loyal to their classmates and their teammates and enjoy that at school, play high school baseball, but they also want the exposure that goes along with travel ball. There's some wisdom that goes into being a group like Perfect Game that deals a lot with travel ball, yet inviting high school coaches to coach your All-American game.
No doubt, high school coaches are true teachers of life skills and teacher of the game, so it really is great. And you guys talked to Trevor Hoffman. I love that expression. That's one of the main things I'm taking from this event is run with winners. These kids are going to have to make choices that most 20-year-olds don't, and if you surround yourself with winners, and that includes your coaches.
Woniak takes a fastball and it's framed up, grabs the outside corner. Wasn't so sure about that one, the sure-handed and eagle-eyed outfielder. Ball on your favorite app, MLB.com at bat, the #1 app for live baseball. Live look-ins in the moment, highlights as well, podcast, broadcast, and of course you can watch everything live, all your out-of-market games on MLB.com at bat now. Brandon McElwain showed his speed. He will show his speed on the gridiron here in just a few weeks on the football field. He is standing by with Brett Dolan.
Darren, here is a guy whose role model is Bo Jackson because he was able to play 2 sports, and that's what this guy's going to try and do at South Carolina, both a quarterback and a baseball player. First of all, Brandon, tell me about the challenges of playing 2 sports at an SEC type level.
I mean, this is definitely a challenge. I mean, South Carolina is a place that's amazing at both sports. I mean, they have great programs, and to be able to succeed at the next level, it takes a lot of time commitment, but I mean, it's something that I definitely want to do. I've loved both sports since I was a kid, and I'm excited to do it.
All right, which one are you better at, baseball or football?
Truthfully, I don't know. I like to play both. I love playing both, and I feel like I'm both a very dynamic player in both sports. So I'm really excited to do both. I'm not sure exactly which one I'm better at.
I want to be this guy's agent because I don't think I can go wrong, Darren. Back up to you.
Yeah, I don't think you can go wrong as well. Coach Spurrier might have something to say to you about that. Breaking ball, that is a good-looking spinning pitch from the left arm of Dion Henderson. IMG Academy down in Florida, but his hometown is Dearborn, Michigan. So we had Carl Kaufman do his thing and do it very effectively. Now, fellow Michigander and Dion Henderson, long and lean and left-handed. That's a strikeout of Max Guzman, who goes down, the young man who's headed to FIU out of Miami. What are your thoughts on the long, tall, and lean left-hander, Dion Henderson?
Well, he's got a ton of personality. He pitches with personality. That's an incredible changeup right there. And really the book on him is there's arm strength and athleticism, and his best pitching days are ahead of him. But again, he shows you some pitchability right there, Dave.
Yeah, that last changeup was excellent. Had that good downward movement, but the best part about it was his arm action, his arm speed. That's what tricks the hitter, is the arm action.
Projectable, certainly. One of those scout terms you will hear quite a bit. Luis Curbelo rolls that one foul, leans out. We heard from Brandon McElwain. We saw him with that helmet on. He kind of looked like Bo Jackson. This is him on the football gridiron. Dual threat, passed for over 2,000 yards, 17 touchdowns, rushed for over 1,000 yards, and 18 TDs in his junior season. Ranked among the top 10 overall football recruits in the state of Pennsylvania. Also was thinking about Penn State, Auburn, Virginia Tech, Duke, and Florida. Brandon playing some football.
Wow, he was just outrunning the defensive backs right there.
I was going to say, was that his highlight tape or Russell Wilson's?
Deion Henderson taking a walk around and can't really tell if he's just a little bit under the weather. You know, we talk about maybe the nerves that go into pitching in this game, the week that is. They're very busy, and there are times that, because we haven't seen him grabbing anything, there are times that, you know, sometimes it just hits you.
And it's the adrenaline. It's been a tight schedule. You're traveling across the country. You're in a really different climate than what you're used to. So it's a lot on these kids. It's just a great experience, and they feel a lot. They want to really show great in this thing.
So the training staff continues. Yeah, maybe just got a little lightheaded. Nerves going into a little bit. You mentioned his personality. There has been nothing short of a pleasure to deal with. First class. And represents his family, Mom Kimberly and Dad Dwayne, very well. Good to see he's okay. He's a Kentucky commit. And so now Curbelo will await while we fire a couple in there. You know, you talk about this game and the impact that it has had on amateur players heading into Major League Baseball. This year alone, at the All-Star game in Cincinnati, just the All-Star game, there were 11 perfect game All-Americans in the All-Star game in Cincinnati.
Some incredible players have come through perfect game. There is no doubt about it.
Curbelo rolls it out to short. Off-balance running play made out there. And a nice one, to say the least. A fine play made by Tyler Fitzgerald.
I thought one of the neatest things, it's a real testimonial for perfect game, what the organization's all about. Last night, so you're doing the awards, and Carlos Correa, he actually was a presenter via video, obviously, for perfect game. I mean, that tells you what an impact this organization's making for these kids.
Well, just hearing that number, too, it tells you that they have done their homework and they are gathering the top 50 players in the nation.
Henderson turns that one loose, just fires it to the backstop.
You know, along that theme, too, guys, what about, there's two names. I'm looking at my scorecard thinking, who are two names that are really jumping forward here? And I'm talking about Alex Kirilloff and Brandon McElwain, who are Pennsylvania kids. You know, cold weather region that come to a national game like this and really jump out at you.
Yeah, McElwain hitting that ball to the right center gap, hitting it right off the base of the wall out there, and just speeding and flying into third base, showing some tremendous athletic ability.
He's a great example, McElwain, that you've got to scout the player, not the prototype. He's a football guy, so you expect him to be raw, but he has been outstanding all summer, just really played good baseball.
Breaking ball stays a little bit high. 2-1 the count to Alexis Torres. Torres rated on a scale to 10 on the perfect game scouting scale as a 9 prospect just last fall, and up to 10 already at the National Showcase, where he did really good things. You were speaking of his defensive skill set. What have you taken away watching the bat?
You know, he plays with energy, and he's going to get stronger, but it's an aggressive swing. He's not bashful up there.
There you go. Took a pitch with some life on it, running in, and just Dave Valley with a hard inside-out approach.
Yeah, you just like to see that type of approach from a more diminutive type of guy, a guy that's going to hit the ball from foul line to foul line. You're going to take a look here. This is a fastball running up and in. He's able to keep his hands inside the baseball and shoot it into that right center field gap.
Here is Brandon McElwain. To the right side, and a little bit late on that one. You know, we talk about the visit to Rady Children's Hospital and how these young men had their eyes open, and many of them with a vow, some of it silent, some of it spoken, going forward to do more in their community. McElwain already very involved in the Special Olympics and athletes in his area as well. And that's somewhat of a common theme. You hear he and a lot of his teammates, you know, a lot of times if you do attend a private school, they ask of those community service hours of you. But simply put, it's many of them the character of the young men and mom and dad.
Really awesome. That's the best thing. The other great impression from this weekend is the perfect game does such a good job. This weekend's about Rady Children's Hospital, and this is as good a baseball game as you could see. This is the future of the game of baseball, these players. But over and over again, it's really been hammered home. that that hospital visit is really the most important thing that's going to happen this weekend.
And even though you have some guys like McIlvain who are involved in those type of things already, not all of them are exposed to that type of service, that type of philanthropic mindset. So it's great for them to have that type of exposure.
A heck of a changeup, gets a swing and a miss. That fluttered in like a knuckleball. This is the Perfect Game All-American Classic. And our game summary is presented by Zepp Baseball. Take the Zepp hitting test today and see how your swing measures up. It was aggressive base running, an effort made there. But then Brandon McIlvain driving a ball into right center field. We got that speed on display, the star quarterback, and also showed his stuff there, coming home on a ball that was bobbled out towards short. McIlvain came down to score there. And right away, the answer back, swatted into left center field by Walker Robbins, young man out of Mississippi. That ended up being a triple, and that's where we stand. You've seen all three of the runs as the East squad with the gray tops with the green, and the West squad with the white tops. And by the way, I have that reverse. And that one is a fastball over the outside part of the plate. So we do know then the orange is represented for the East squad, and Ian Anderson wears that orange. And he is from back east out of Rexford, New York.
Shockingly, another Vandy pitching commit, and he, you know, he reminds me a little bit of a Vandy guy that was just a first rounder, Walker Buehler. Right-hander with a whippy loose arm. A lot of room in that frame to get bigger and stronger. Already at a high velocity.
Secondary pitch off speed. Dominic Fletcher rolls that one out to the right side, and Fletcher out of Cypress, California, Cypress High School, the Arkansas commit, one away. What have you seen in Blake Rutherford?
I'd say that you asked us what are some names that jump out at you. Blake Rutherford really has made an impact on me this weekend, just with the combination of, I mean, this is real power. We talked about Dave. He had a ball in the air off the center field wall here. I almost felt like my eyes tricked me, but the speed, he also brings a big speed. These UCLA recruits, Gowdy, Moniak, and Rutherford, if they get those three kids to campus, John Savage can start sizing up rings. I mean, that is, can you imagine those three kids getting to that campus?
Yeah, this was another guy that kind of made you stop when you watched him take BP here this afternoon. You can just tell by the sound of that ball coming off of his bat. Anytime you drive a ball off the left center field wall here at Petco Park from the left side, you've got some power, you've got some bat speed. So take a look at his scouting report.
And he is on. Ian Anderson issues the walk to Blake Rutherford. That'll be a chance for Avery Tuck to hit.
I don't blame you. After you see Rutherford hit a ball off the center field wall, I'd consider walking him too.
Anderson, the #1 player, overall player, any position in the state of New York, the #2 right-handed pitcher in the United States out of Shenandoah High School. This is travel ball for the Clifton Park Knights. And exceptional in the classroom, not just an honor student, but a high honor student his first 3 years of school. That's why Vandy fits for him. That pitch sails high and away.
I think it's another great thing about the game of baseball, and college baseball in particular, where we've got some really academic schools that are great at baseball, play at a high level. You think about Stanford, the players they've had, Vandy, Rice. So it's a really eclectic group of schools that are great in baseball.
Well, the arm is there. We are seeing really good velocity, 92, 93, 94 miles an hour.
With very good mechanics as well. Very nice and tight, not a lot of moving parts.
Up into the seats it goes again, 92 miles an hour. There was a word down below, and I don't know what kind of numbers you're getting, that the in-house radar gun may be a tick slow. Are you hearing that?
It is maybe a mile an hour, but it's in the ballpark.
Okay.
You know, maybe add one, maybe +1 right now, but again, it hasn't been disappointing. These guys, there's been tons of velocity for us to see tonight. It's really been great.
We saw 92 a moment ago, so you can think 92 to 93, as you said, maybe do a +1. That one 93 miles an hour from Anderson. There's a little bit more on his stuff.
There's a lot of room in that frame, Dave. I mean, he's got command of 3 pitches, and he's got a quick arm, but man, you feel like you could put 20 pounds on him and not even notice it.
Pulled the string back and induced an awkward swing from that left side from Avery Tuck. Down he goes.
I think
that's a big secondary pitch.
As you take a look at his body physically, his bottom half has some ways to go. He can put some meat on it, build up some muscle, be able to drive that ball to home a little bit better. But I like his mechanics. Anytime you have command of 3 pitches, it's telling you something, that you're repeating something from that good arm slot. And again, I have to keep reminding myself, these guys are 17 and 18 years old.
We get to see Noni Williams in his first at bat out of Kansas City, Kansas. He is homeschooled, played his travel ball for Marucci Elite this past summer. Quick snap throw. But Noni, #1 shortstop in the state of Kansas, showed really good wheels at the National Showcase, running a 6.5 160 and a good arm, throwing 92 across the infield. So his first at bat, we get a chance to meet Noni Williams.
Really unique prospect. He's reclassified, so he really should only be going into his junior year. He's going to. He's been homeschooled, and he's freakishly athletic. He can run. You know, it's a very physical frame. I mean, he looks like he'd be a great football player, and he can play in multiple different positions. So, you know, you can see he needs more seasoning because he is a younger prospect, but he's been a super kid, really neat kid to be around.
On the move, throw down into center field. That one goes. Berryhill with the attempted throw, so hustling on to third. Blake Rutherford has showed the bat. Now he shows the wheels.
Take a look right here. Gets off a good jump. Berryhill's ball is in the dirt and off to the shortstop side of the bag, but Rutherford showing that good baseball instinct, picks up the ball immediately and takes off to third.
Trying to tie this game up, the West squad. Huge swing, fouls it off the end of the bat.
Rutherford really is, I mean, he gets a lot of hype, but he's a little overshadowed because him and Moniak are both in UCLA's recruiting class, and Moniak is such a special player. But this has been an interesting weekend for Rutherford to really step forward, and this a special talent right there.
Fastball blew him away at 92 miles an hour. Not just 92, but a lively 92 as that one sailed high and inside. Lean left-hander receives his assignment. Part of that West All-American squad. 6'6", 175 pounds out of Laverne, California. Coach Lawson Angle at TCU has gotten a college commitment out of him. And Lodolo out of Damien High School. He will tell you, woeful start to their season. And he was able to step in and be a big part of a run to the postseason. So his team, his junior year, he learned an awful lot. San Gabriel Valley Arsenal, his travel team.
You know, and TCU's become a great pitching program. That pitching coach, Kirk Sarlos, big leaguer, done a great job down there. It's funny, Lodolo's a kid that you recruit and you scout because of his projection. 6'6", lefty, arm strength. Here's the challenge if you're Kirk Sarlos and TCU. He's projecting too quickly. The velocity is going from 85 to 90, and so that ends up not getting to campus, but a really interesting prospect which checks all the boxes you're looking for.
Yeah, he may not get to Fort Worth anytime soon.
It's not looking good.
Francisco Tomas with a bat in his hands. Uncommitted. Wait to see what happens. Young man out of Carolina, Puerto Rico.
You know, guys, we talked about, I mentioned some academic schools, and I missed a bunch. You know, TCU's a great academic school. University of Texas. How about Virginia, our national champions? That's an elite academic institution. How about some of the arms that have come through North Carolina with Daniel Bard, Andrew Miller? So really neat what's going on in college baseball.
Line to left field, hit hard. But Moniak was able to go get it and make the play for the out. Well, Lodolo has that commitment, and I would imagine there is the discipline in the classroom that goes along with that. This one's squared up.
Yeah, this one he just drops the head on this. There's a little slider down and in. And as that right hander just dropping the head down, unfortunately right at the left fielder. Moniak out there saying, I got that.
In and off the plate to Luke Berryhill out of Canton, Georgia, River Ridge High School.
Berryhill, really interesting. How about Dave? Runs a 6'7", 60 as a catcher, just very athletic. I mean, you probably were a 6'6" guy.
I was a 6'8" before I caught about 2,000 games. But when I was 17, yeah.
Nice. That's right.
I was very proud of that.
Yeah,
trust
I love
me.
it.
2-0 the count, puts that one on the ground to short, where Tyler Fitzgerald fields and fires. It's scooped over there by Walker Robbins.
I'm sure my text message from all my former teammates are going to, yeah, right, you ran a 6'8". Come on.
You can post 8 to 60 time, right? You only got to run it once.
Mario Feliciano with his at bat out of Hato Rey in Puerto Rico. Feliciano, we saw him catching earlier in this game. Dealing with Nick Lodolo, the big left-hander. That one sails in and off the plate. Lodolo, we were talking about the commitment in the classroom. His father, a big impact on his life. A city of industry in Southern California. He has been a deputy sheriff in the city of industry for 27 years. Buries that fastball inside. As a matter of fact, family is important. He was supposed to go to the National Showcase in June because he played his way into the invitation. But 2 years ago, his family had made a big trip. Grandma, grandpa, grandparents, while everyone's still healthy and active. He went on a cruise with his family, and he didn't choose to go to the showcase. He knew his skills were good enough. He hoped to earn the invitation, but if he didn't, he didn't. He was going on the trip with his family that they had planned for a long, long time.
Love it.
I asked him if the food was good, and he said it was good, and he said, I promised, Aaron, and tell your guys upstairs, I ate a lot of it. I just can't, I can't eat enough food.
Lucky man.
2-2 the count.
He is such a lefty, isn't he? I mean, arms going this way, legs going that way, fastball going cutting left, right. I mean, this is so hard to hit these guys. Every pitch is unique.
I think Kirk Saarloos would have a lot of fun working with this young man, putting them together.
Ouch. Way in and off the plate and right off, looked like the shin or the knee of Feliciano.
Well, those are the things that we're talking about, getting those mechanics tight. Take a look. You got those big arms, wingspan, and just holds onto it just a little bit too long as it hits the left shin bone. That one won't feel very good in the morning.
He had his good-looking Evo Shield protective gear, but it was just above that.
He needs to extend it about 2 inches.
He's just hit with his catcher's gear on. You know, Lodolo, that is great, though. A lefty, he seems to naturally, the ball wants to go to the glove side, meaning into a right-handed hitter. And I've always felt if you're a left-handed pitcher and you can only command fastball into a righty, you got a chance. And maybe just even an average changeup. And it seems like he naturally kind of wants to go over there.
Yeah, because with that type of velocity, a right-hander has to kind of give you that respect for that inside pitch. So if you start looking for that pitch in and you can come up with, again, just a average changeup on that outer half, you can get a lot of easy outs.
So Nolan Jones now back in there with a bat in his hands. We saw him play third and then re-enter and play some third base in this contest. Lifelong hockey player who is giving up the sport this year. Virginia commit. That fastball misses a little bit low. 2-0 the count to Nolan.
Virginia's done I mean, it's a great baseball state. Brian O'Connor, Kevin McMullen, Carl Kuhn, great coaching staff. They've done a great job mining Pennsylvania, and we've seen some great players in Pennsylvania in this game, and Virginia's done a great job getting those guys.
Pretty swing up and over the head of Fitzgerald in the left center field. That one will roll for a long, long way. Feliciano out front. Jones headed into third. The game's third triple. Seeing these athletes and their speed on display has been an awful lot of fun. And the East adds another run, and they lead it 3-1.
It's just a beautiful swing right here. Talked about that little slap shot out there into the left center field gap by the former hockey player. Here's a fastball up, elevated out over the plate. That's what you want to do. You're not trying to make anything happen, but if it's out there, just go with it. He's got enough power to drive it into that gap, and now he's showing us he's got some wheels to go along with it as well.
Jones, really interesting prospect, and again, that's left on left, so his athleticism and size, he's really good on the bump too, and then he shows you that approach right there. That's he's so unique. He's 6'5", and he's a great athlete. He's a shortstop right now. He's also a pitcher, so there's a lot to chew on there.
Yeah, I've been really impressed with some of the left-handed approaches by the left-handed hitters against left-handed pitching, because at this age, they haven't had a lot of repetitions against quality left-handers. If you start to think about the number of left-handed pitchers in the game of baseball, the number that are in the high school ranks, but then to show up here at Perfect Game and you're facing the elite guys in the nation, it's been very impressive the way they stay in there.
2-1 the count on Carlos Cortez. We have seen really good things from Carlos, who has played a majority of this evening in the outfield, though, as we mentioned earlier, he is a second baseman. Singled a couple of times, has had a couple of pretty approaches. Last night's winner of the WebGem Grunt Award, presented by a Perfect Game partner, WebGem. 3-1 the count.
To have 2 knocks in a game of this caliber with these arms, that's impressive. That makes a statement right there.
He and his East squad lead it 3-1.
I don't mean to keep wearing out my home state's wares here, but that is Pennsylvania kids. Nolan Jones is a suburban Philly kid, as is McElwain. So I'll say this, Dave, at least we know the suburban Philly kids are going to have toughness and charisma.
There you go.
We got that to hang our hats on.
3-2 the count. In on the hands, into left field. Mickey Moniak runs it down. Run derby earlier, and Alex Kirilloff with quite a run. It's time now for our Louisville Slugger home run of the game, brought to you by MLB Prime, Big League Wood, and the ink dot to prove it. MLB tested and approved Louisville Slugger, the official bat of Major League Baseball. Back and forth they went, but in the end, it was Kirilloff with 6 consecutive homers in the end to win it 12-11. The big bat of the young man out of New Kensington, Pennsylvania, Alex Kirilloff, brought to you by Louisville Slugger.
So it's Pennsylvania kids.
That's right. Can't get enough of them. Can't hold them down.
That was impressive, though.
Oof. 6
home runs on his final 6 swings to win it.
Hey, we said earlier, his dad runs a hitting academy and is a hitting instructor. His phone's going to be ringing. This has been impressive.
This is Anthony Losi. I'm moving on from all you guys. It's all about one region. This is Anthony Losi from Columbus, Georgia. He's a Georgia Southern commit. Houston County High School. Real good student, certainly, and we have talked about who he has become as a pitcher. This is a young man that has shown a big arm.
Very aggressive. He's a really physical kid, and he pitches with that mentality. We kind of kicked around the comp of Joe Blanton, who was a kid that pitched, obviously Joe Blanton pitched at University of Kentucky, great big league career. Fastball can get up there to 96, and you're going to love his approach. He's just going to really get after hitters.
And he faces Blake Sable to start things, and Sable, who had worked behind the plate out of Aliso Niguel High School, California Baseball Academy, Marucci, his travel team. The #1 catcher in the state of California. And there's some size there, 6'4", Blake Sable.
And there's a lot to, he's a catcher now, but he doesn't have to catch. He's athletic enough to, you could put him in center field and he would do just fine. He gets 6'4", 190. He runs around good. There's a lot of thunder in that left-handed bat. So the catching, obviously, that's a premium position, but there's a lot of other things he can do.
Well, we've seen so many young catchers. I think of Bryce Harper, who came up as a catcher, but because of the durability issues of being behind the plate all that time, but because he could swing the bat, they move him to another position so they can make sure he gets those 500-600 at-bats during the big league season.
Fastball a little bit low, 3-1 the count. Bryce Harper, who of course was a perfect game All-American back in 2009. That year, some of the names that jump out to Harper's teammates, Chris Bryant was on that team as well. Cam Bedrosian, who is a hard thrower in the Angels organization.
We talked about the 2011 perfect game All-American game. How about here's your big leaguers. 2011 was 4 years ago, mind you. Addison Russell, Carlos Correa, Lance McCullers. How about the next tier? Corey Seager and Lucas Giolito, arguably the 2 best prospects in baseball. Then Alex Bregman and Carson Fulmer were also in that game, first-round college picks. And then just to kind of throw a little extra flavor in there, how about Jameis Winston was also in that game? I mean, that's the now we don't. These names aren't as famous as those names yet, but they're gonna be.
Well, those first 3 guys that you mentioned are impact players at the big league level.
Little topper, that one is fouled off. It has been a who's who with regard to the draft. The #1 overall picks the last 6 years. We mentioned Carlos Correa addressed the group last night and handed out an award brought to you by Evo Shield. Brady Aiken has been a first-round pick a couple of times now, and of course 2 years ago was a #1 overall pick. Swing and a miss, 91 miles an hour, but elevated 91. That's not easy to do. Sable goes down on strikes.
Using that fastball right above the strike zone. Again, over the cylinder of the plate, but across the top of the letters. Tough pitch to lay off of, but even tougher to catch up to.
Nicholas Quintana. Hello, Mr. Curveball. That drops in there for strike 1.
Nick Quintana's thinking, can I get a fastball tonight? I mean, he has gotten pitched backwards all night.
The Las Vegas native, there's your fastball after the breaking ball, but that's away. 0-2 the count.
That's why velocity can be a tricky number. Losi's throwing 91, but that 91's got some giddy up on it.
Well, that first curveball was at 73 miles an hour, so that 91 probably looked like it was 100.
Sails up and away. Quintana, an Arizona commit. Mom is Susan, dad is Martin.
Very much like Carlos Cortez. He's a kid, Quintana. The more you watch him, the more you like him. He just knows how to maneuver through a baseball game. Really skilled player.
There's that breaking ball. It's popped up to the right side. Max Guzman goes as far as he can go. And he runs out of space over there. Quintana, well-rounded kid, too. You know, we've gotten to know about their volunteer work, the kind of students they are, the all-around athletes. Some play hockey, some play football. Quintana, very involved in a school newspaper, loves journalism. That's the scouting report on him as a baseball player, but has been involved in ceramics, very artistic, loves to paint, plays the guitar as well.
It's just, and the other thing that's amazing is how comfortable these kids are nowadays with the media. I just think about Brandon McIlwain's interview there. I mean, these kids are amazing at that aspect of the game. It's a whole different generation from that regard.
I think there's a maturity level that I haven't seen in quite a while with these young men. I think, and I do believe it's because of the exposure that they've had.
Stayed back on that breaking ball as long as he could. Nolan Jones fights it off his chest, recovers, and fires it on across for the out. Jones stuck with it. 3-1 the score. The East squad on top. That's clearly a hockey player making a play on that.
Yeah, he did. That was a little Happy Gilmore-ish, right? He didn't even attempt to glove it. He just chested it. Could he be a 6'5" catcher, Dave?
No
what do you
question
think?
about it. He's got the guts already. Showed it to me.
Ben Baird is a Washington commit. We spoke of his really aggressive fundraising earlier. Comes from a bit of a football family, if you will. His father, Dave, some time with the Philadelphia Eagles. I have to go back to that region of the country again. Played at Lafayette College.
Can't help yourself. Can't help yourself.
And I knew you were waiting for me to get there. All night long you've been waiting for me to get there with Ben Baird. You were disappointed that I mentioned the other things about him earlier.
The Eagles.
That's good to see the University of Washington get a quality baseball player up there in the Northwest.
How about their new stadium?
He raved about the facilities. Raved.
It's been a while, and they finally got some things turned around over there. UW's just right across the lake from where I'm at.
This is, University of Washington, they've really had some nice momentum in recruiting, and part of the thing is they've gotten some recruits through the draft, and there are a couple really good freshmen coming in this year. And then I look at a kid like Ben Baird. He's a program changer because of the energy. He's really a catalyst. Just being around this kid, you're not going to be lazy around Ben Baird. He's just one of those kids where everyone's going to be a notch better because of how he carries himself.
Plans to study sports medicine when he arrives on campus at Washington. Losey with a couple of outs and a 1-1 count in a 3-1 game. Breaking ball rolled up the first base line. By the way, again, just a quick reminder, the West squad in green and the East squad with the orange and those good-looking Nike uniforms. Dave Valley Nearly a decade and a half in the major leagues.
Yeah,
providing our color analysis.
Yeah, just seeing what Nike has put together, watching these young men take batting practice, they almost look like a pair of slacks out there. So light,
sharp,
comfortable. Yes, amazing.
Mike Rooney, by the way, joining us, providing the scouts and the college coaches' perspective. And Darren Sutton, as that one skips in there and skips away, 2-2 the count. Brett Dolan's been down, busy working in the dugout all night long.
But I must say, I am kind of wondering where our bags of swag are. You know,
I think they had our wrong rooms, or they must. Somebody else must have got a accident. Mistakes happen. Even a great company like Nike makes mistakes sometimes.
Breaking ball. Boy, he pulled the string on that one. In its history, has raised nearly $1 million in the fight of childhood cancer, and a big part of it this year is Ben Baird. He's standing by with Brett Dolan. Brett?
Darren, in fact, these players combined to raise more than $45,000. Ben Baird himself raised $7,000. First of all, Ben, congratulations. How did you do it?
Well, I knew coming into this game, and with Perfect Game presenting us with the opportunity to help Rady Children's Hospital with the fight against cancer. Cancer has been something that's been in my family, and I'm sure it's been in a lot of other families. So I knew that this was important. I was fortunate enough to have some very polite donors who were able to donate a lot of money. Fortunately, my dad works in a hospital with doctors who see this sort of stuff. So they were more than willing to give, and I was truly thankful for that.
Well, you did a great job. Before we let you go, what has this experience this week meant to you in your baseball career?
Oh, it's meant everything. It's really, truly been a blessing. I couldn't have asked for a better weekend with just visiting Rady Children's Hospital to start it off and then ending with this game. It's just been an absolute blast, and it's something I would never trade for anything.
Darren, we know we have the top players in the country. We have some of the best people. We're talking about a 4.0 student who raised $7,000 for Rady Children's Hospital. Back to you.
Good stuff, and playing with a bit of an uncomfortable finger as well, and playing right on through it. We are seeing a big fastball as Grant Bodison goes down on strikes.
That's just a great story, hearing that from Brady right there.
And this is Rady Children's Hospital, and this is the relationship with Perfect Game and the fight against childhood cancer and what Rady Hospital has been able to do in California. You know, an interesting thing happened. 2011 Perfect Game All-American Clay Schmidt, as that one is hit hard on the ground. Diving play out there by Fitzgerald to throw, and not in time as it skipped on by. But a great effort out there by Tyler Fitzgerald. And racing down the line, by the way, that was Herbert Iser, the catcher, showing good speed.
That's a big league play by Fitzgerald right here, ranging to his right. Goes all out, lays out, but as he comes up, has a little trouble with the transfer and unable to get a good grip on the baseball, but just getting to this ball was fantastic. Showing some great athleticism over on the second base side of the bag.
This is Matt Mounting on the wall, on the mound, by the way. Manning out of Elk Grove, California, Sheldon High School. And he has shown some really good velocity, 93, 94 miles an hour.
That's what a catcher's supposed to run like right there, Dave Valley. That's how you do it.
Yeah, the more you squat, that speed starts to dissipate as you get older.
It's a depreciating asset. Hey guys, Matt Manning, this is a name to write down. He's a basketball player. He's a Division I caliber basketball player who's really started to come on. You know, those basketball kids lose baseball repetitions. He plays big time AAU basketball in the summer. And you look at this. This is every fastball has been 93 or better. And the delivery, it's a little funky. You could tell the hitters are not liking this at all.
Yeah, that basketball and that family tradition. His dad, Rich, played collegiately at Washington. He was drafted in '93, played for Vancouver, played for the Clippers as well. His brother plays college basketball for the Air Force Academy. His brother, Ryan, who played in 28 games collegiately last season. 2-1 the count on Max Guzman, a little snap throw. But basketball is part of the family. As we mentioned, there's Dad. And the time in the NBA and the draft pick in 1993 as well.
The Grizzles. teammates with Big Country, right? Bryant Reeves.
There
probably?
he is in the background.
Oh, there he
Waving
is.
to you.
Nice. Big Country. This is a great matchup, guys. Max Guzman is a really talented hitter. All summer, he has really held his own. He loves the fastball. He swings hard, and Manning really is primarily a fastball guy. This pitch right here, this is going to be big on big.
Full count, buried a fastball inside at 92 miles an hour. The tag, the throw, and the double play. And a very, very pretty way to end things by Tyler Fitzgerald, who put on a display defensively. Nearly took a hit away with the diving stop, and then ho-hum. Let's get back in the dugout and see if he can do something. They are down by a pair. It's the West team's chance now. Shield, and it was a man who is an exceptional hockey player showing some wheels. Nolan Jones spraying it the other way. All the way to the wall it went, flying on around at third. There have been 3 triples in this ball game. That one, a big one, as it added on for Nolan Jones and his squad. The young man, part of our Evo Shield play of the game. Joshua Lowe now. We saw Joshua hit earlier. There's Jones out there at third base. And Joshua Lowe out of Marietta, Georgia. We talked about the quandary. What do you do with him? Where do you play? He threw 94 at the National Showcase. Not only did he throw 94 with that size, but he ran a 6.5 460.
I mean, that is, we call that an embarrassment of riches. This is really intriguing.
So he awaits his chance to get going. And Joshua Lowe, the Florida State commit. Dad is David, mom is Wendy. First fastball low, but at 92 miles an hour. Big deep breath and a battle being taken on by Walker Robbins. Robbins, one of those triples earlier in the contest, right back through the middle of the box and into center field. That's a pretty approach.
Back up the middle. A lot of knocks back that way. When you have that good approach, it'll enable you to stay on the off-speed pitches, but also react to those fastballs like he did just there.
Walker Robbins can hit now. This is a Mississippi State commit, and he will be real good for John Cohen if he gets to campus. Again, his brother was a very good hitter at Southern Miss, and love, to your point, Dave, love that approach.
Brother Mason, you're talking about in the White Sox organization, a PG alum as well. He's in the South Atlantic League playing this summer. And now Gavin Lux has fly to right. He has struck out looking. The fastball at 91, about letter high. 1-0 the count. Some of the names from last year's game that are already having a huge professional impact. Grant Holmes in the Dodgers organization, young man out of South Carolina. As that one is off the end of the bat to right field, long run. A couple of All-Americans come together, and a sliding play is made out there. What an incredible grab. All the way he came. Carlos Cortez, we've talked about his play as a second baseman. That's as a left-handed throwing right fielder.
This is an amazing play right here. You talk about communication right there. Cortez goes into his slide to avoid collision, but has the presence of mind to stay focused, still catch that baseball. That's a big league play.
How about that? They're both South Carolina commits. They look like they're already at South Carolina playing together.
He and Grant Bodison. And Bodison, the talented infielder. Those are the two guys that had a little fun at the dinner last night and did a faux race around the room, so they're comfortable with one another. As a matter of fact, when I asked to all these young men, hey, who wants to play along with something a little bit hokey? And if I'm involved, it's very hokey. We all know that. First two hands that shot up were those two that were involved in that play. So they do already know each other pretty well.
They're not afraid of the big stage.
No, they're not afraid at all of the big stage.
It's like Cortez is limping a little bit from their slide. Hopefully it's nothing to be concerned about.
1-0 the count to David Hamilton out of San Marcos, Texas, as That pitch dives low and out of there. 2-0 the count. Ran very well at the showcase. A 6'4", 360. As that fastball's inside. 2-0 the count. And it runs to 3-0.
I keep thinking all these South Carolina commits play on the same travel team, but they don't. I misspoke. Cortez is a Orlando Scorpion. They've had a great year. Bodison is a Evo Shield guy, as is Rizzo. So this is, man, some of these travel programs, they are powerhouse teams they put together.
That one is low. That is ball 4, and all of a sudden it gets a little bit interesting. With one away. And a chance for the hometown man, Mickey Moniak, to swing the bat. Maybe tie this game up if he finds a gap.
This is worst case scenario right here. Moniak coming up with the game on the line. It's not what you want if you're the East Club.
Well, we've already seen Moniak have some really good at-bats here tonight. Let's see what he's got with the little bit of pressure on.
This has double in the left center field gap written all over it.
La Costa Canyon High School for Mickey, the San Diego Show, his travel team. He said when he's in the batter's box, he likes to do one thing: create havoc. As he takes low. I thought that was a great little quote. Create havoc when I'm in the batter's box.
That makes me think of Ricky Henderson, the guy who created havoc. Could beat you in so many different ways.
Dave, it's a pretty simple approach with regard to stance, isn't it?
In terms of where?
Not a lot of movement.
Oh, as far as Moniak?
Yes, absolutely. Yes. A very simple approach.
He's a very quiet way about him. Not a lot of movement. And as you get up in this game, you go from high school to college to the minor leagues and the big leagues. As guys start throwing harder, you have to eliminate a lot of those unnecessary type of movements.
Into left field, hangs up long enough, and there's another diving play in this inning. That one is hauled in. That's Khalil Lee out there in left.
You almost called it. Double that left center field gap.
Just didn't quite get there.
Two fabulous plays by outfielders on the corner.
And you know, when you have this type of athleticism in a game like this, outfield play is where it can show itself the most. Khalil Lee's kind of under the radar in this weekend. He's been very good. He's, again, these two-way guys, it's a little tricky. That's a really good play.
So it was a pretty swing, and he did drive it. And now, as Lee puts that one away, here's Dominic Fletcher. Fletcher out of Cypress High School, CBA Marucci. Fletcher showed off some kind of an arm from the outfield at the National Showcase. And he takes a fastball to those low. As a matter of fact, they put a radar gun on the throws from the outfield, infield catchers at the showcase. He threw 96 miles an hour from the outfield.
And that's not a big frame. This is another great baseball family. His brother was just a 6th-round pick out of LMU. He was a right-handed shortstop, and he's as sure-handed a shortstop as you're going to see.
They say he went around. And so the count evens up at 1-1. You're watching Josh Lowe pitch and seeing Dominic Fletcher work.
Josh Lowe shows you some pitches, and that's one of them right there that you can get excited about. That was hot.
A changeup that never got there. 2-1 the count. Well, he talked about the older brother and what an athlete he is, Dominic Fletcher's family. Younger sister is a dancer and attends the Orange County School of Arts. Runner on the way to third. And Robbins with the stolen base.
Got to be safe on that, right? Left-handed hitter.
Clear pass, clear throw.
Your run doesn't matter, although you obviously try and get the tie and run to second base, but didn't happen.
Hitters count for Fletcher. The Arkansas commit. Ian on his hands. Well, that just didn't look any fun.
You know, these two-way guys, Josh Lowe's a great example. They're younger so that you lack repetition just because you're a younger player, but you also miss repetitions because he's a hitter, he's an infielder, he's a pitcher. That's a lot of aspects of your game to work on. So those guys are always going to be a little bit later in their development just because it's so much to put in.
Do you find as once they get to college that they're asked to pick one or the other?
You know, college with the limited scholarships, if you can get a two-way player, that's like two players for one scholarship. It's money in the bank if you can. But again, it's still hard to get them. I'll tell you where you start to see it is the PFPs. They struggle with that. They just can't get that work in.
So the bases are loaded after the walk. And just a quick conversation about this situation. Tim Held heads out. We saw on the other side of the diamond that East squad poised and ready for what has become an exciting time and a nervous time for coaches and scouts as the winning team traditionally does a nice dog pile after the victory. But what occurs then is the losing team, because they're all kind of brothers in baseball and they spend the week together, makes it a two-roster dog pile. And there's a lot of nerves that go into that.
There's a lot of body weight for those poor guys on the bottom of that pile.
So we'll see if, in fact, the West squad wants to partake in that type of fun, or we'll see if the West squad maybe pulls something off right here and changes the score. And this is a man who has been grabbing everyone's attention all week long. It's Blake Rutherford. He doubled. He walked. He has a stolen base.
If there's a guy that can end this game with one swing, we may be looking at him.
Has shown in the home run derby. Bases full. Swing and a miss. Good lively sink on that one, down and away.
Yeah, well located fastball right there with a little movement away from the left-handed hitter.
For the record, Blake Rutherford was also thinking one swing, let's go home. That was not a go oppo single, or swing, I should say.
Lowe clearly staying away from Rutherford, knowing that he has that type of power.
Top step over the rail. West, bases loaded. Breaking ball and a dandy, 1-2.
How awesome is this from a scouting perspective? This moment in this kind of game, Rutherford and Lowe are two kids that will be on everyone's short list for a big selection next draft. And this is a moment you can talk about in the draft room. How did they handle this type of pressure?
1-2 the count. West squad with the bases loaded, down by a pair. And a good looking take. He went back to a similar pitch.
What are you calling here, Dave? He's seen that breaking ball a few times now.
He came back with the changeup right there. I would have liked to have seen him come back and double up on the curveball, but out of the strike zone. The curveball right before that was excellent. Right now, it'll probably start something on the outer half, go back to that little two-seam fastball away.
He deals it. It's a fastball right over the top, in and out of the catcher's mitt, and that is the ball game. The losing streak is over for the East squad. High fives all around. They celebrate on the sideline. They're not going to let anyone get hurt. There's your celebration as the East squad wins the perfect game All-American Classic in the year 2015. Well, what a fun event. And it's fun to see these guys having a good time with one another. The West squad coming over to celebrate with gentlemen they've worked out with, they played baseball with, they've stayed up late talking baseball with. And just a fun night, hasn't it been?
Oh, man, and just the talent, to have this much talent on one field, one night. I mean, the pitching was great, but I say this class of hitters, this could be a real special group of hitters.
Yeah, I was really impressed with both the arms that we saw tonight, inning after inning. Some power arms out there, some bodies that are going to get bigger and stronger. But I agree with you. So some of the left-handed bats that we saw here tonight were spectacular. This week for these guys was a time of relationship building. They're going to see each other for many years in the future, competing on the college level, and then most of them will, and probably maybe all of them, are going to be in a professional uniform. And hopefully many of them will get to the big leagues.
One of those great bats, one of those great left-handed hitters is Carlos Cortez. He is our game's MVP, and he is standing by with Trevor Hoffman and Brett Dolan. Guys?
Indeed, and certainly here in San Diego, Trevor Hoffman is the official host and the ambassador of this event, and he has a presentation to make for our most valuable player.
Yeah, Carlos Cortez, congratulations on being the 2015 MVP of the Perfect Game All-American Classic. Way to go.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Carlos, we talked to you earlier about your unusual journey. You were part of a high school state championship team. You were on the Orlando Scorpions that sent 19 guys to Division I baseball. Where does this experience rank?
It's at the top, definitely. It's unbelievable, and it's a true blessing.
Trevor, you have seen these players all week. I've been continually impressed by their maturity, their poise, and their confidence, and certainly Carlos ranks right up there.
Well, he definitely exuded all three of those things, and it's great to see these guys' talent out here at Petco Park.
A couple of base hits tonight as well, Carlos. You're facing the best of the best when it comes to pitching. How were you able to get it done tonight?
Just do what I know how to do best and just stay within myself.
And the sliding catch in left field helped save a run maybe as well.
Yeah, definitely.
We'll let you go enjoy the celebration. Carlos Cortez, tonight's most valuable player, the Perfect Game All-American Classic. Darren, back to you.
Great stuff, and don't forget, we are certainly glad you spent this evening with us watching these talented young baseball players.